And welcome to Independence Live coverage of the All Under One banner march from Arbroath. I'm here with my colleague Ian. Ian, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Kevin. Thanks very much for having us. Welcome everyone to the stream. Looking forward to a fantastic day in Arbroath. A very historic moment, the Independence March. It's 2 years too late because of the COVID. Kevin's going to get the feed sorted out so we can actually get the visuals of what's going on the ground. I'm sitting watching Mike Fenwick. He's already gone live with his stream. So make sure that you keep an eye on all the streams on Independence Live. We're going to have all the different streamers broadcast through this platform on this stream. And that way, what we're going to do is try and engage with you guys that are watching, guys and gals, should I say, sorry, that are watching, so that we can get you as much content, as much coverage as possible, and so that you're part of the conversation. Because here at Independence Live, we're all about telling Scotland stories. Yeah, and we've got a lot coming up on Independence Live over the next few weeks and months. Lots of new shows to look forward to. So make sure that you click on the website link below. That's https://independencelive.net/march and rallies 2022. Even if you just go to independencelive.net, you will find all the information about our other shows. You can join the mailing list so you can get information directly from us every week about what shows are going to be on, who the guests are, what the content's going to be about. And we've also got a wee crowdfunder, which to help us, because as Kevin will rightly say, we're not the BBC. We are very much relying on the grassroots movement to help keep everything going. So thank you very much for your support over the years. And it's been a lot of years, Kevin, hasn't it? 2012 we started this Indie Life.
That's right. It's been a while now, and yeah, we're still here. I didn't expect to be here this long, Ian. To be honest, I thought I'd have had another indie ref by now, but there you go.
Well, that's, yeah, what was it, March
Yeah.
2017? The first Section 30 request was on 5 years ago. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think everyone in the movement's feeling the same way. But we're ready as soon as they are, as soon as they're ready to let us know when the campaign is. I think this is a very important thing about Scottish independence is there's a large movement massively beyond the politics of it all. We've got today's event in Arbroath, which is going to be. I'm just looking at the feed that I can see at the moment. I know Kev's
Yeah,
his end
I,
sort
I'm
of.
put, what I'm doing. I'm just looking for the streams from the other streamers, and I'm picking up the link, and then I add it to our video mixing software. So if you see me looking away, I'm looking at my other laptop that's going on, folks. Right. So we're trying to get ready for half past 12. So we've got Mike live at the moment, but if you see anybody else going live, let us know. Just so as viewers know, right? It's our live streamers are putting out their streams to our Facebook page. Okay, that's the only place you want to see everybody together, right? But what we're doing is we'll pick them up and then we'll pull it all together and all in one, and we'll send it out to YouTube, we'll send it out to Twitter, Facebook, and our Twitch accounts. Okay, so if you see anything interesting, Ian, just let people know. I'll go and try and get this set up. So you keep chatting if you
Yeah,
can,
well,
right?
I'm just as I said, I feel really guilty. I said I'm sitting here watching Mike at the moment, so he's currently giving us great coverage of the Soar Alba fight band. So they're doing their wee warm up. March is actually not starting until 12:30, so don't worry, folks, you aren't missing anything. But to do a few comments here, Judy Ann, good luck. Jimmy Coates, great, have a great day. Yvonne O'Donnell sending the first stars of the day, 99 Facebook stars, so thank you very much for that. I'm just going to add in very quickly, if you do want to donate through Facebook stars, we encourage you to do so, but please buy the stars on the Facebook platform on a PC or laptop on a web browser. Do not buy them through your mobile device. They take about 30% of a cut before you get those stars in. Those stars can actually be used on any Facebook Live content. So you can buy a bunch that you can then give to all your favourite streams that you see, be it Independence Live or any other content providers you watch. So it is a way to support content creators. So it's certainly a worthy cause. Eileen giving a few clapping hand emotes. Have a great day. And we've got Lazy Boy Official. Hello, fam. All right, no, that's one of these. So yeah, I'm going to delete that. This is the problem. You also get in Facebook Lives. You get the scammers that come in automatically. So ban from page. You're away. Apologies if you do see any of these streams. Just please don't click any links that don't come from Independence Live. That's probably the best advice, isn't it, when it comes to internet security, Kevin?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I've got Mike. That's Mike live. I'll try and show it on screen at the moment. Okay. So as I said, we're going to have 4 live streamers. Mike did say earlier on he was having a problem with his streams, so that we're not too sure about the connection issues here, Ian. And Arbroath, hopefully it'll be
the
okay.
picture's holding up absolutely fine my end. We're not seeing Mike's chin like we had in Paisley, so we're doing great that way. And listen, a very good time to kind of say on the live streaming front, we've also got events that are happening all across the country. Follow us at Independence Live to get information on all the events, all the details. If you do want to be part of the team here at Indie Live, please do message us, reach out. The important thing that we've got to do as a grassroots movement is have as many voices and as many cameras on the ground as possible. We don't just cover marches and rallies, we cover all pro-Indie events. We also cover all pro-Scotland events. We had fantastic coverage of the COP26 conference in Glasgow at the end of last year. We've done things like the Black Lives Matter protests. We've now got the feed. We can now see everybody. Pipe band's looking great. Big Sheldon Doug's looking fantastic as well.
You can still hear us. We're still here, folks. I've just hidden this. I'm just sorting out where we're going to be positioned in the screen. There you go. So there you go. We're back. There you go, Ian.
Superb.
Right.
So that's Sheldon. What a dog he is, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
Should we
feel small.
Let's have a little listen in. Right. So this is Mike at the moment. Mike Fenwick. There's Graham Dallas. Shall we have a little listen to him?
Definitely.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll give it a song.
Calm down now.
Are you on today or not?
No.
No.
I'm just here for the march.
Okay.
Yeah. So we walk.
You have a festival coming up. When is it?
14th of May.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to start promoting that a wee bit, I think.
In the Clutha, that's what I'm here for.
Right, well, yeah, in the Clutha.
You can't
promote it.
You can't see the fiver getting passed at the moment, folks.
It's plenty of them as well. Costing a fortune.
Who have you got lined up for the Clutha, do you know?
Yeah, myself, Pete Scally, Kevin Goa and Sean Moore.
Okay.
So it's quite a short one. It's 4 o'clock to about 9 o'clock, I think. And then the Clutha were talking about putting the remains on after that, but I don't know whether they have or not, you know. So,
okay.
I haven't been in contact with
Let's give everyone the really big secret. How much does a ticket cost?
It's free of charge.
Hey, yeah, folks, you heard it.
Yeah.
It's recorded on Independence Live. You can't back out now.
No, free, nothing to get in. Yep, no, the Clutha are covering the costs. Yep.
You get brilliant
Big
support.
yesers, the Cluthers, yeah.
Yeah, you get brilliant support. See you later,
no
Graham.
bother, mate, you take care. Good to see you. It's been a while, eh?
Yeah, just to let folks know, the event for that, the festival that's on at the Clutha on the 14th, that's the same day as the All Under One Banner March and Rally, Ian.
Yes, it is. So straight from Glasgow Green to the Clutha for a wee refreshment and some proper indie activist songs. It should be a great venue. We covered the one at the end November, was it, last year?
We did. Now this is going to be quite interesting because I'm going to have all my gear at the Clutha, Ian. So I'm going to be doing what we're doing just now, right? I'll be pulling in the streams for the streamers. So that's got me actually slightly concerned. Doing all that, then flicking over.
It's crazy the amount of work that everybody at Indie Live puts in individually, from the podcast to all the different content, and it is. We try and make things as professional as possible. As I said earlier on, we're not the BBC. We don't have tens of thousands of pounds worth of equipment on the ground. We don't have the best mobile data. But what I would say is, the more that the grassroots supports Indie Live, the more that we can support our streamers and support the content and make better content for everyone going forward.
Yeah.
And I think we do this for the love of Scotland, for the love of being our country. And I do honestly, Kevin, I don't know how you feel about the whole. When is it going to be 2023? Is it going to be 2024? We've got systems in place today that we could get independence tomorrow if we all got together.
That's a big thing, isn't it? I mean, we try. Independence Live tries to not get too involved in the actual political stuff because it can be quite divisive. you know, so, but, you know, we all have our personal feelings. Will it happen? Will it not? You know, you know, I don't know, but what we're doing is preparing for it happening, whatever way we go. Whether that is, you know, as in, you know, they do get that section, whatever it is, and we you know, we do get an indie ref, or something else crops up. No, we just got to be in a position to be ready for anything. So, yeah, just got to keep on trucking, Ian.
Yeah, and I think that this is, you know, with obviously, as you said, that there's not just one route to independence. There's lots of different avenues and opportunities. Here at Indie Live, we cover everything from plan. I say A through to Z. We don't want to be covering Plan Z because that's in. We don't want to have coverage of Ukraine, Russia type events in Scotland. I think that's one thing we're all delighted about with 2014 was it was a peaceful process. Although we didn't get the result we wanted, we didn't have violence, we didn't have murders. The worst thing that happened was a few people fell out and then they fell back in. But to be honest with you, that's life. That happens with or without
Ian,
politics.
We've got Fiona now. She's on, right? So I'm going to try and add Fiona. Right, so let's see. All these streams are great to our Facebook page. This particular stream you're watching is all in one stream. So we'll be pulling in the streams for the different live streamers. The idea behind this is because during a stream, it guarantees somebody will lose their stream, right? So if we've got multiple streamers going, we can switch over to who's doing it. Right, so this is Fiona.
Yeah, I mean, I can provide it because I'm being really lazy. I think this is the first March I've missed in nearly 2 years. But I'm sitting at home. I've got my Wi-Fi. I've got a nice stable connection. Everything's great. But what you tend to happen is when you go to these events and you've got tens of thousands of people on the street, it overloads the cell towers and networks. I was going to say you might want to pull up Mike's audio because I think that's the band now playing.
Is it okay?
We want to hear the bagpipes.
Right, let's hear the audio from Mike.
The thing to watch out for in the stream as well is just the variety of the flags that you see at these events. It really is a all under one banner type style. We've got Yes flags, we've got the SMP banner there. We've got pro-European flags walking right in front of the stream as well now. You often see flags from other countries, Wales, Catalonia, Spain, Ireland, you know, it's very multicultural, the Scottish independence movement. There's Catalonia there.
Absolutely. Right, I'll try and bring Fiona soon.
I think Fiona tends to normally do the static events, so she might be positioning herself up by the Abbey for when the walk goes by.
Yeah, just looking at it at the moment, you're right. She's up by the stalls at the moment. I'll show everybody in a second. Let's get... So this is, I'm going to show a 2-camera in a second. Let's see.
Yeah, if everyone is just joining in the coverage, thank you very much for joining us today. We're restreaming the All Under One banner event in Arbroath. This is a delayed event from 2 years ago. You'll find us on Facebook, you'll find us on YouTube. Please remember to like, share, comment. It's the best way. We've talked a wee bit about the stars and crowdfunders, but the best thing you can do right this very second is smash that reaction button down the bottom. Help us get the engagements up, leave your comments, let us know in the world where you're watching from. We'll try and get us through as many of them as we can today as well, as we're putting out all these different multiple feeds. One of the big smiler flags.
That's it.
Absolutely. Must be about a 60-foot altar there.
It's cracking, isn't it?
Thank goodness the wind's not too high. When you see that on a windy day, the poor people holding on to it, they take off.
There's a nice kilt there, Ian.
Aye, what was that? The Royal Scot?
I'm not too sure.
Stuart? There's that many tartans.
Yeah.
I'm a leopard base. I don't have one tartan yet. I'll need to get one commissioned at some point.
I'm not too sure, but I think Fiona's stream's got, is she still there? Right, it looks as if I need to do a refresh. Let's see if she's still there, and I'll pull it back over. But Mike's doing a great job. His feed's holding up well at the moment.
Yeah, we've got a lot on the ground today. So we've got Mike there. I believe we've got Pedro Mendes as well, that's planning on doing a wee stream from his canoe, of all places. So we should get some great angles.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Because one of the things I've always talked about that I'd like to do when I'm out there streaming is get one of these drones so we can get up there and get the bird's eye view of what's going on. So if we do have any budding drone pilots out there in the Indie Live network, please message us, get in touch. We would love to have a conversation with you about getting some live footage shot from that.
It looks as if we've lost Fiona at the moment, Ian. So what I do...
Yeah. As you were saying earlier on there, the internet can sometimes be a bit temperamental. Yeah. So apologies, as I said, you know, as yourself and myself as live streamers, there's a lot of things that go out with our control. There's a lot of times you'll find that the BBC have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of equipment. Bobby McPherson comment on YouTube as well, looking good, have a great day with you in spirit. I think that's the important thing. You're here, you are actually part of this. You might not be there physically. I think over the last 2 years we've all got used to social distancing and doing Zooms and being online a bit more than what we were pre-COVID. But yeah, everyone that on the stream is part of today's event. So thank you very much for joining us and being part of it.
So we're back down to Mike only streaming. Don't see any. I think I'm going to have to go and see if Gio's doing a stream, just in case we lose Mike, because it's I always like to have at least 2 streamers going at the same time, Ian.
Yeah.
In case.
Well, we've normally got Anon Scott as well. And this is the thing, if you're watching in the chat and you're seeing one of your friends or family that has taken our heed of advice and is doing their own live stream, let us know. Ping us a wee message and we will get their feed up on the main multi-feed as well.
Absolutely.
It's quite straightforward for us to do that when we're sitting in our Cushty offices.
When we say Cushty offices...
You know, the sofa in my living room.
The living room.
I said, unfortunately, we don't have an address on Pacific Quarry to be streaming from. Maybe one day, Kev. We can get it there.
But we have been gifted an office, but it's in town and it doesn't have internet or that, so that's okay, you know. We're getting a lot done from the house, as they say. And of course, we did have
the office up until the kind of start of the COVID, didn't we? And then obviously the world just changed overnight. So we're on in, but I think we will get to a point where there's, you know, we've got how many shows now? 13 every week going out on the Indie Live platform, or at least every month.
Ian, should we give Mike a wee listen?
Definitely.
Without getting knocked over, I'm going to catch them up on the other side. We're getting there. Bit more like old times.
So for anyone that's not fully aware of the layout of Arbroath, this is them currently walking down towards the harbour area. The route will take them up to the Abbey and back down to Fort Position at Victoria Park. There is a rally planned, so we will have speakers at the rally, which we'll be covering on here as well. I'm just trying to, talking about the cushy office, my laptop's powered by Steam at the moment, so struggling to refresh all my tabs here to get the feed. But we've got Troon Radio. Shout out to those guys massively because they are virtually in every single feed. Loving the new style of streaming, shared on Troon Radio, taking Scotland back, and we are more than 45%. Thanks everyone. That's just the first positive feedback, Kev. This might work.
Yeah, good stuff. Just to let you know, I'm setting up so that we can pull in comments, right? From if you put out a comment in our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel for the main stream, which is pinned at the top on Facebook, right? Then we can pull in your nice comments, okay, and we can display them on the screen. So please do make comments. And what I'm going to do soon is put up a little poll. Once I stop panicking as much, Ian.
It's always there, and we were speaking about this just before we went live. Will this work? Will it not work? It's what we do at Indie Live. We always try new things. We always like to expand what we do, and I think one of the things that I love the most is that I'm just pulling up the main feed. Is subtitles, and I'm trying to, because there's a 15-second delay if you ever notice when you're streaming. So we don't read out your comments straight away. It's because it takes at least 15 seconds to populate.
Ian, I've just stuck up a comment on the screen on Facebook. It's from Mandy Gavin.
At the very end of the march, and
Mandy
then try and
Gavin was one of
catch
the
up at the
last
front.
shares as well, so thank you very much for dropping that share, Mandy.
I warned Kevin, I'm maybe getting a bit old for this, Kevin.
There you go.
Start getting the retirement package ready for me.
Just heard Mike saying he's cause expense from data, right? So, crowdfunder goes to help people that also the streamers with their data, right? And they're travelling if required, So there's a lot of expenses.
For example, for people that might not be aware, when was it, 2 Saturdays ago, I was in Glasgow covering the Stand Up Against Racism March, and then I popped on a train and got over to Edinburgh to cover the Yes 2 event. Over the course of that weekend, I went through 20 gigabytes of data.
That's crazy.
Just on 2 streams. It's crazy, because obviously it depends on how you upload it. I like to try and put things out in the best format I can, so it's 5G, 4K camera type thing. But yeah, it's mental just how much the costs rack up, and all the software that we need to have this in place, to have the data storage. It's nothing in life is free, although we do keep Indie Live free at point of use. You'll also notice we're one of the only Facebook pages that don't run adverts. So when you're watching our streams, you don't have that annoying advert every 3, 5, 10 minutes.
I was going to try and speak to the couple.
Could be a way that we could make money, but we opt not to, because it's not about...
Let's listen to Mike.
Well,
let's listen in to Mike just now.
We got some positive onlookers. Let's see if I can catch up again.
I tell you what, Mike, he's getting on a bit, but he's out there doing the streaming.
Yes, and he does a fantastic job.
He does.
And it's one of these things that when you go out there to do the live stream, you feel very much part of it, but a bit of disassociation as well. You're kind of trying to give a viewpoint for everybody, and we make plenty of mistakes. There can be simple things like forgetting to charge the battery, not having mobile signal, not switching on your VPN. That's a mistake I make all the time. But yeah, his stream is going fantastic. The MI5 haven't found them yet. haven't started interfering with his video quality.
I can't see any other streamers live at the moment, right? So I've got Jem is also streaming, but I don't see her stream. Pedro, don't see his stream. Oh. I did notice Indie Truck Dave is streaming. I wonder if he'd mind us nicking his stream as well.
I don't think he would mind that
No,
at
I
all.
don't think he would. He'd be quite happy to.
Dave McGuinness. Listen, if you haven't come across him before, have a look. David McGuinness on Facebook. He does the Indie Truck Dave. a daily podcast virtually,
Yeah.
where he talks about the news agendas of the week.
Does a great job.
Gives us all an insight as to what all the mainstream media are saying, so that we don't need to watch it. So definitely worth a view. You've also got the likes of IndyCar, Gordon Ross, that does some more content as well. So yeah, make sure that you find all these different streamers. Make sure that you give them a follow. If they do have a crowdfunder, if they do have a support option, make sure you throw a few quid in the pot, because it makes all the difference. It means that we can upgrade mics, gyros, data plan. Yeah, it is what it is. We will keep doing this until the day of independence, and hopefully after as well, because I think we'll be telling Scotland stories for many, many years to come.
Right, I'm going to try and pick up Dave's live stream, because I'm slightly concerned in case Mike has any issues that we'll be left just me and you chatting.
Well, listen, to be fair, Mike at the S2 event managed to do, because one of the things I always discuss with other live streamers is try and have one host. So in Edinburgh, I myself had 3. So I didn't, and you can't always follow your own advice, but Mike did have a stream going consistently all the way through Edinburgh. So hopefully we get the same coverage today. But as it's looking sunny, that's us now heading through the harbour. I'm pretty sure someone was offering to buy the Arbroath kippers later on today, the smokies. So hopefully there's a few of them.
Right.
Can I squeeze past you? Thank you. How about young fella?
Okay, so I'm just going to get Dave's up. Right, so that's...
I think they call this orchestral music in the dark. An Irish one!
Indie Truck Dave stream is on the screen, it's bottom left. So I'm not too sure. I can understand.
This is being recorded on a thing called Independence Live, and I thought I'd come over. It's being broadcast around the world, if we're lucky. So I thought I'd come along and say hello to this young lady. Do you want to say hello to the world? We'll give them a wave. What's her name?
Leah.
Hi, Leah. You having a good day? All these people.
She loves Scotland. Loves Scotland, eh?
And who have we got heading down? Who have we got heading down here? You don't want on, do you? Who's this? Brody. Brody. Hi, Brody. I need to get my flag. Thank you.
No problem.
That was a nice little interview Mike did there.
It is, yeah, and I think this is always the thing that I find at these events as well. It's a mix of all sorts of different types of people. There's old, there's young. The dogs come out in force as well.
There is a front
so
for this march.
if you've never been to one and you do see it coming up in an area near you, get out and be part of it, because the energy is surreal. I'm sitting here almost gutted I'm not in Arbroath today, you know. But this is the next best thing, isn't it, Kev, having it here on Indie Live. So thanks very much for all the work you put in to make sure that we can get this kind of coverage out there on, because we're not going to see it in the BBC tonight, eh?
No, that's for sure.
May I?
Oh.
Thank you.
I'm quite surprised Mike's getting
Can
such
I
a good
squeeze past you, kind sir?
good connection, given there's so many people close to him.
Yeah, this makes me wonder. I'm not usually around that many people, so. But yeah, that's when the paranoid tinfoil hat starts coming out. Because it is, yeah. We won't discuss that too much on the stream. I don't want to give the spooks too much intel on what I know about them. Because I think we are
Colin,
a threat to the
say
union.
hello
We
to
are
the
trying
world.
to.
For me,
end-
any friend
there-
you've got anywhere in the world. No.
Nah.
You know me.
Oh, I know you.
That's what we were talking about there. That's Mike speaking to someone else that's doing their own content, getting it recorded. So there's always plenty of visuals that come out of these things.
And that was a good friend in Tennis Live as well. Let me speak now.
We don't have many bad friends, do we, Kev?
No,
I
it's all
think we're
good.
now in High Street, Arbroath. And forgive me if that is incorrect. I'm a Glaswegian from Ayrshire. So my questions on Arbroath and Mastermind, I'm not thinking I get very far.
We'd do alright, to be fair. I think Mike's a lot cleverer than he lets on.
I think he is. He's run some companies in the past, and yeah, he's a smart cookie. Right, I'm going to see if there's anybody live. Ian, have you noticed anybody else live?
I've not seen any other feeds coming through yet, no.
I think Jen's just videoing. I don't think she's live streaming. I thought she was going to live stream today. So, we're down.
Well, yeah, and as we said before, I think we'll have a static camera up at as we get to the actual Abbey, which, looking from where Mike is at the moment, the march looks like it's only maybe 5 to 10 minutes away from that point.
Yeah, so we should be getting the main camera from Gary and Stuart. They're going to pick up the crowd as they come into the park.
Yeah, they're going to be providing the coverage of the rally as well. So I'm not actually sure. I've not seen a list of speakers for
And
today
I've
yet.
just seen a sign that says High
We flashed
Street.
back to Paisley. We had references from SMP.
Silver Star, maybe, Mike.
We had other different SSR speaking as well. There was other groups on so there's always been interesting to hear the rally.
Many of you will know
opinions.
Independence Live is doing a test called the 6 degrees of separation. And we're hoping that perhaps we'll catch some broadcasters overseas who will show a clip. So just in case I'm lucky and Independence Live does get shown, I think we'll give them this clip from High Street, Arbroath in Angus. Welcome to Scotland. Welcome to a march, followed by a rally in celebration of something that was put into the world in 1320, the Declaration of Arbroath, in which part of the United Nations, a bit called UNESCO, in 2016 awarded the Declaration of Arbroath the title A Memory of the World. And today's march and this subsequent rally are to commemorate and celebrate the people involved.
There's lots of different, I think, I don't know if it's come across your radar yet, but the claim of rights, which was discussed with the Alba conference at the weekend. I think that's going to be a speech as well today, so that should come up in the rally point. So yeah, there's lots of different options when it comes to, because the claim of right all boils down to actually having, Scotland already having a written constitution written way back in 1698. Obviously before the Act of Union, even with the Act of Union it references this written constitution of Scotland. So yeah, there's a lot of foundations in place for us to deliver our independence. It's just a case of working out how do we do it? And definitely a good way to do it is in the marches and the rallies. It's very visual, you know, people get out on the ground, it's a great chance for it to meet up. We haven't been able to do that an awful lot the last couple of years. And you're just looking as well at Mike panning up here, you always find this at the event as well, people get involved from their windows. They'll be hanging out flags, they'll be cheering along. So yeah, make sure, as I said, if you do see one of these events or on your radar for coming into one of your towns, get involved, be part of it. You know, as I said, it's a great day out, and you'll find like-minded people that want a better Scotland, and you'll have some cracking conversations with them. It's never an indie march without a Tory, out chant, is it? As Julianne Bright comment, out. So yeah, did it. And Simon Ratu as well. Seeing Scott Lyons tagging his pal Gordon Petrie as well, thinking you'll not be at the march, but I hope you're there enjoying the scene.
You are live on a thing called Independence Live. Can I ask who this is? Can I wave? You local? Okay, what do you think? Good. Thank you.
Oh, there's a proper camera. Did you see that?
A real camera.
Didn't look that big. It's probably STV or ITV rather than the BBC. You never know. They might put it on the news. They might be surprises.
It looks like a good crowd, Ian.
Yeah, this is because normally when I'm on the ground, I'll usually give a guesstimate on numbers. Because the way that I go to start to the back and kind of get it always swells as well. You see, we're going through the town centre, and you can see people standing along the side. That lassie there filming away. So people do join in the marches. So very much from the very start to the end point, it does grow. It gets bigger. That's us right up the very front now. So we're getting very, very close to the Abbey. I believe it's just the top on the right hand side of this road. Just listening to the bagpipes as well. It's always good to hear.
Just to let people know, I think I put a poll out on the Facebook stream, or Facebook stream. I don't know if you can see it, Ian, if it's working or not.
Do you know what? I was on the feed with all of Mike's comments. That's where I was reading the chat from there. Where is the missing 600k from Mark Porter on the YouTube? I wonder what that reference to. Hopefully that's that. Let's go to this feed. You've got Pedro on live now as well. He's down. Doesn't look like he's in his canoe, but he's at the beach front. He's at the end point.
Let's listen to this.
Never mind, Kev, he's just gone off live. It's always very difficult trying to coordinate these events. We're always very much trying to get as much coverage as we can.
Hope this is coming over okay, folks. Make a comment when you see any of the live streams on Independence Live. You'll tend to see a message which says send stars, it will help me make money. The word me is wrong, because that would indicate it was me or any of the other live streamers. Any stars and the money equivalent for those stars goes direct to Independence Live, not the live streamers. And Independence Live at the moment, folks, is operating on a shoestring.
as well, Kev.
Yeah.
Scottish independence. Oh, aye.
I was actually
Maybe aye.
I was actually trying to switch that poll off because I thought it's on, but now I've totally screwed it up. I don't know actually how to do it. I've done double it. I was actually just trying to
The other one that
deactivate
came
it.
up as well was you go to Pro Indie website as well. So if you let us know on the chat what are your favourite Pro Indie group websites, pages, communities. I mean, I'll start off by saying I think one of my favourites is the National Yes Network. If you go into their website, just pop that name in, National Yes Network. It will ping up all the different groups across the country.
And behind us,
so it's a great way to find out what's happening locally.
Arbroath Abbey.
Speaking about locally, that's now right outside the Abbey, which is absolutely stunning.
I'd just like to apologise. I don't know what I'm doing with these polls, and I was trying to deactivate one, and I've actually made it duplicated on Facebook. That is, so apologies for that. And I can't seem to find a way to deactivate them. I don't know what's going on.
Slight tangent. I think some of you will know I'm trying to commemorate the Declaration of Arbroath by bringing it into our time. And so far it's been signed in places all over Scotland. And that's the intention. It's partly why I've said, it's not the whole reason, it's partly why I've said I'll go to every march or rally. And if people sign the declaration at the various marches and rallies, then in our time it will be a declaration of the sovereign people, and those sovereign people will have come, if I can manage it all, to every square inch of Scotland. It's our land. It's the first thing we need to take back.
It's a very interesting thing about the Arbroath Abbey there, because as you can see from it is literally just a shell of the Abbey. A lot of it has been taken down. And interesting enough, when I found out when I was up there last year, the actual Abbey, when it used to be
we're coming up this passageway, folks. That's the peaceful liaison.
Became more and more integrated with the community. They actually dismantled the Abbey, so it wasn't attacked, it wasn't destroyed, it was dismantled so that the brickwork could be used to build up the rest of the town. So you actually find that a lot of Arbroath is built on the foundations of the Abbey that was there originally, because it's been there since the 1320. That's obviously where they signed the Declaration of Arbroath back then, 702 years ago.
Through the Abbey.
A wee jaunt through the Abbey, nice.
Yeah, the barriers are quite interesting as well, because I've never seen them up before.
We have the Silent Clansman.
What, Silent Clansman?
Garden. Oh. I'll slow down.
On the Facebook commenting, so wish I could have travelled there. Have a great day.
I think one of the priests left their bag. Says yes.
Trisha, you're here as much as me and Kevin are. You're part of it. You're front seats. It's a bit chilly up in Arbroath today as well. I'd imagine it's what a difference a week makes in Scottish weather, eh?
Absolutely.
High teens at last weekend, and we had snow this weekend. Probably a lot more snow forecast next. You know.
Mike's doing an absolutely wonderful job, isn't he, Ian?
Listen, absolutely cracking feed. The only thing we need to do is get him a gyro like I've got, so
Well,
that it's not all the shaky camera picture.
do you know what? This is the first time I've really did this where like you've got two people, us two, talking through a stream like this. I'm not sure what people think about it. If you like this, let us know. If you'd rather we just disappeared, didn't say anything, let us know, right? Give us your opinion.
Yeah, there's no such thing as negative feedback. We like to try and obviously make as much pro-indie content as we can, but there's no point in doing something rubbish. So if you don't like it, let us know. If you do like it, let us know.
Yeah, so please post your comments on the
1320
various live stream chats, folks.
to
Got any-
2020 plus 2.
So this stream's going to our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel. Also, it's been sent to other
I was just going
Facebook
to say, just
pages.
on the YouTube front, Brian Humberfield, the barriers are there because some of the rocks are falling. So thank you very much, Brian, for that update on that, why the barriers have been erected. That'll make a great photo. Yeah, listen, and I think this is one of the things we always talk about as well, or specifically I talk about with people. The reason I do the indie live stream is so that the content's out there, so that the visuals are there. If you're watching it back and you see yourself in it, feel free to take a screenshot. Feel free to even download the video and clip out a bit of it. We don't need tagged it. If you tag hashtag Independence Live, that's always handy. But yeah, this content is done for the
I'm going to
grassroots to
disappear
promote
down here and see if I can get a longer shot. Bear with me.
platform, not just from the rallies, but also the shows as well, because there's a lot of really interesting discussions that happened on the podcast that we put out.
And just to let you know, if you go to our website, right, we actually have a separate page for March and Rallies for 2022, right? So we've got a great resource with our website.
I'm going to say there's Del Boy watching from Belgium, one of
Oh,
the
is he?
original indie livers as
Yeah.
well, so great to see you on the YouTube, Del.
Hi Dale.
Lillian Evans, we've got heart-winning tears, spirit tears, we'll send them all to there. There's a lot of people crying apart with the team. I think that the energy of Arbroath, it's a really special place. If you've never been, I highly encourage you to go and visit it at some point. You know, if you're watching from abroad, come to Scotland. There's so many phenomenal pieces of history, beautiful scenery, cracking people. A few dafties, Kev, but you know, I don't like to talk about myself like that.
I've got another live streamer, I think it's Jem. Right, so I'm going to pull that in.
When all the marchers go back home, I hope they'll pick up this bit of the live stream. It's got to be historic, folks. It really has.
Okay, so this is Jem's just about to come on.
I'll explain that
Okay, I think this is Jem. Still using the right hashtag, so I'm not sure.
live stream all the marches. So when I asked for your permission to stand here, you granted me permission because this is going round the world. Okay. From your doorstep. Will I get you a better price for that? Will I get a better price for that?
Somebody might buy our property then, you better put that on as well.
John.
Here we go. Can you hear me okay, Ian?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So that's Jen. She's got a camera around the wrong way. Not to worry. Let's, I'll see if I can pick up her audio. Let's see.
Back again, go on, turn around, turn around. So, tell me how you guys are
This is
enjoying
Jen.
today. Where are you guys from? And you? And yourself? Oh, I'm also from Edinburgh. Can you give me a lift back, please? Yeah, no, I'm cool about that. So, tell me what you think about Arbroath and this particular march. And how, is it? Where is it? Tell me. Tell me. No, but where's the best place to get it? Okay. So, guys, do you guys feel about independence in general? Do you think it's going to happen? Absolutely, everyone feels like that. And yourself? And nobody wants Westminster. Can I hear a big cheer for that? Nobody wants Westminster! Thanks, guys.
I can't remember.
That's a yes, Bikers, eh, Ian?
It is indeed, yeah, that'll be them at the end point. So
Hi,
I
guys.
don't know if they had, it's one of the always different things for the organisers with planning these events out. It's actually having
Okay, can I
roads
ask
closed
you where you guys
open.
are from?
If there is a road open, the yes bikers can generally do a
And
drive-by.
yourself?
Let's hear Jen.
And yourself? And how do you feel about Westminster? Okay, good, good, good. And yourself? And yourself? Okay, so how do we feel about Scottish independence? Okay, let's have some cheerful stuff. Okay,
And if you're a
everybody is
biker,
around
certainly get in
here.
touch with them. They're
Can we
always
have a
looking
big
for new
cheer for
members.
Scottish
They do
independence for Independence
ride-alongs
Live?
for lots of different events. This is the kind of time of year as well. We're getting into the
Yay!
It's
Thanks, guys.
she doesn't have your good mic there, Ian.
Yeah, they come. I think
no, but
there's a flag.
the mic that replaced
So,
after
I
it got
think
washed out in our Glasgow in 2022. Aye,
Oh,
that's the
yes,
thing.
no
Around 2022, so 2021.
I want to get the ones. There were some
But it's
really cool sites.
you know, I've been doing these live streams as well myself for 4 and a bit years, and you're always learning. You're always adding on new bits of equipment. You're always adding on new different bits of content to do. She's doing what you hate, which is having the phone straight up. And I was saying to you just before we started this whole thing today, that's how I used to stream, and that's how I usually prefer to stream, because I can then read more of the chat rather than when I'm sideways like Mike is. I can only see 2 or 3 comments at a time. Speaking about comments, I'm just reading here, Mandy Gardner was giving us a bit of feedback on what we were asking earlier on. I think it's good to have coverage of all the streamers, as we know we can jump on to David, Paul, Fiona, for our own streams later from different places in the march. So yeah, you know, what we are trying to improve here at Indie Live is our post-production systems as well. So if you do take any videos, feel free to email them over to us. We can put them into a collage. We can potentially look to go and do that from all the previous events. So, you know, I mean, we could create a couple of movies and all the stuff that we've shot. I said not too much of it would end up in the cutting room floor.
Yep.
I'll see if I can increase Mike's audio a bit, because he's quite low. Alright, so I'm upping his audio. Let's see what Jen's saying to it.
These kids having fun here, rolling down the banks, and
So
all
the kid,
the
you've got the
bikes. It's kind of beautiful. So, this is for Puppy Day.
A ship horn going by there.
It sounded like it.
I actually wanted to bring my paints with me because I'm an artist and actually paint a whole bunch of them.
Right, pal.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm feared to kind of give a shout on numbers here because I don't think I've seen the very end yet. But it certainly looks there's at least there's certainly more than 100 people in our row today, which is always great to see. There's a deal. Listen, and I'm just going to put this statement out here now. I love Ian to bits. What I don't like about Ian is because of his PA that he pulls around, he plays music all the time, which is
Oh
great
no,
for the
that's
marches.
right. Actually, you're right.
But as a live streamer, you get the copyrights and. But doing this, Kev, we've got the problem because we're covering up some of that audio if we do. And it's annoying. Certain songs you can get away with. Like, as a live streamer, if you want to play the Braveheart soundtrack, the issues. That doesn't trigger a single copyright box.
I've killed the music audio.
You play 500 miles, within 30 seconds, you've got an infringement. If you play Run Right, within 10 seconds, and this is part of the problem. Because we are so grassroots, we don't have the licenses to play this broadcasted music.
Hi guys.
Well, just
I'm with Independence Live.
we'll just listen to
Are you willing to chat to me?
Jem at the moment.
Tell me how you're enjoying your day. I won't film you if you don't want me to.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how are you feeling about today? It's nice weather.
I got the better weather than expected.
I know, it's cracking, isn't it? So anyway, thanks for all you guys' efforts. I know you put a lot into the day. And how do you feel? I'm not filming you.
Attend these events, watch them on the stream, be part of where we are here. But please don't go and mingle with crowds because all you're potentially doing is spreading the infection further.
I've had to get Ian. I've just
from the COVID at the moment. I know there's a lot of people in the country going through that. Hope you're all feeling better soon. And yeah, I hope that you do what you need to protect us all, protect the NHS, and help save lives.
I've had just to let you know, I've had to kill the audio from mics because of the music. There's music coming through.
Aye, and this is the thing. It's never easy. Your job, Kev, trying to pull up this audio or that audio.
Yeah. I'll listen into
Jem. Yeah, you should probably
Put it up
speak now.
later
I think that's even way further.
So I don't want to bore the hell out of
so
you
that's-
guys.
Maybe not way
I'm
further.
just gonna
This is Jem.
basically
Jem's audio.
go back on live feed when they start walking down here. Okay. So if you can still get down to Victoria Park, get down here. We just wait.
Oops. I think we've lost Jem. Let's try Mike's audio again. Let's see if there's any music. No music. Okay, so we're okay with Mike. Jem's. I think we've lost. Oh no.
Oh, the dreaded signal disappears.
That looks like
I always
two of
get the
them.
fear when I get this in my
That's the
phone.
fear.
It will usually ping back up. I think that's Jock right in front of us that's frozen there as well with his. If you've ever met Jock at the marches and rallies, he always goes with his carpet DMs.
Yeah.
His footwear of choice.
So what I'm going to do is just get rid of the elevator music, and Ian, it's just us two at the moment. Okay, I'll try and get the streams back for the Jem and Mike. All right. Is there any stuff coming through comments?
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull some of them up. I was literally trying to get into Jen's feed so I could read her comments out to everybody.
Now that sounds like Mike, but it's not. It's repeating. So I'm just going to kill it.
And this is the annoying thing because obviously Mike's feed's still going here, and everyone that's in there is doing the wee comments on the dancing emojis and things like that. So people do love to hear the music. I love to hear the music. I just hate dealing with the copyright strikes that we get afterwards. You know, it's part and parcel of what we do, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. So what I'm actually doing now is refreshing the Independence Live Facebook page to see if we've got any live streams going apart from us.
Yeah, Mike's feed's going. So you should be able to ping that back up shortly.
I can see Fiona. Mike says no there. Mike's is gone. Ian, refresh your page. I don't see Mike there. Oh yeah, he's come back on. I think that's him. It's hard to say if he's live. He's got one viewer at the moment. Right, let me grab. Let's see if I can grab. I'll grab Fiona's. Right, let's see if Mike's still going. I see him down the bottom, but I don't know if he's actually live or if that's just.
No, it's definitely moved on from where he was. So I
So
think
it
that is
is-
live, but it's shown only one live viewer. I think this is when we talk about the spooks. It could be them.
Right, well I'll try and get Mike back up, right, and Fiona's gone as well, so I'll get her going as well. Is that Mike? Let me just double check. I've got Mike. Okay. Oh wait a minute. That's that what Mike's is going. Really. Right, I'm going to have to do a refresh here again. So that's the kind of thing we have to deal with, folks. That's why we do the all. One of the reasons we do the all in one is you're always hoping one live streamer is going to be live at any good time. And the sound behind me is because I'm live streaming for the international headquarters of Independence Live, which is my house at the moment. And I've got my kids eating.
You got two very, very active young girls in the background there, the twins.
Yeah, so I don't see anybody live at the moment, Ian, apart from us. I think we're the only one. It says Mike has got one, but I think that's an old stream. I don't think that's him.
No, that should be a new one. Should be okay to pull that one back up.
Right, okay, well let's check. So what I do is I jump in, I grab the URL. That looks like an old one to me, man. Right, so I'll send it over from this laptop to my other
I think
laptop.
David McGuinness is streaming as well, looking at some of the comments here.
Okay.
Fiona McGregor was live.
They must be getting close to the rally area, I would think.
Yeah, and that could be part of it as well. Bearing in mind, we've walked through the town centre. We're coming to a public park where there's, guesstimate at the numbers. I mean, I'd maybe put it at 1,500 to 2,000 so far from what I've seen.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm saying that from my living room here in Inchcape, right? So I don't know for certain. That would be just my guesstimate on what I've seen there, and just with the from what I've witnessed. But you'll hopefully get an official figure from the organisers all under one banner before the end of today.
Right, I'm still trying to get Mike's up, but it's not happy. Right, let's see. Let's see. I don't think that's live. It's not giving me it. Just one of those things. It's just, you know, it happens at most events. Again, the more people
Well,
you get.
I've seen a wee comment on the YouTube MI5. I don't know. I don't think
know
they would
about
bother
MI5.
with us, would they, Kev?
I
Would
don't-
MI5 really want to stop us streaming and
I
get
don't-
into the thousands and tens of thousands that we used to get to?
Well, I'm not too sure. You put it down to, you know, it's always natural problems. You don't need to go down the MI5 route with this stuff. But I think Gem's on. We might have Gem. Let me see. Or is she frozen as well? I think this is an old one I'm looking at. Yeah. We've lost Gem. So we're just gonna have to keep chatting, Ian, and I'll keep looking for live streams. That's just not the one that's Mike that says one viewer it's not coming up. That's a repeat. So
Is it all right? Yeah, because I'm watching that as if it is a live feed, but yeah. So I'm going to say it is MI5. They're doing it. They're stopping us.
oh, wait a minute. I'm just checking the
But
rally.
yeah, it's a case of
The rally's live.
There's no way if you're watching that, Kev, and I'm watching that, and it says that there's one viewer. That doesn't add
No,
up.
it's
That's
stuck.
bad maths in my
It's-
mind.
it's
I can't
stuck.
get my head around that.
It's stuck. So
So there's a Derek McIntosh. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there in person. And the comment just disappeared off my screen. I was halfway through. I apologise. But it looked like a big comment.
I
What
do
Colin wasn't being serious. That's not MI. Yeah, we're just being right.
right. So I do have the guys at the rally with their camera. I believe they're live. So, but they're looking at it. Oh, this is looking good right there.
Yeah, well, they're going to be arriving there, so they'll be picking up coverage. That's probably your next best feed to put out.
Right, so wait to
Yeah,
see this.
The main stage camera is live.
Okay, so
There it is. Well, that's a great shot as well, that.
right, so oops, where are they going? There, a nice view of the sea. Let's see if I can get their audio. I think it'll just be the sound of the sea.
Cafe
Oops, right, they're playing music at the moment, so I can't.
I think that was Pete Scally, so you might be alright. He doesn't usually trigger the bots.
He's, we'll just keep off it.
The indie slates as well, with some of the guest stone cairns have added a few to that over the years as well.
Yeah. While you're chatting away, I'll see if I can find anybody else live. Any comments, Ian, on that?
So to be honest with, actually, the mic feed has frozen up, so let's go back to our main feed here that we're on.
So that's I can't put the audio through because they're running Bruno and all under one banner team, that they're running music through his audio connection. So there's a beautiful
Patricia
shot.
was saying, no, keep it up, I like to see who is talking. Yeah, I think they were talking, we can see because we keep hiding our pictures. So yeah, apparently they like to see our ugly mugs.
Oh well, that's
I
good.
can't imagine why.
Are they crazy? Right, I think Jem's back with us, right? So I'm going to grab her stream. I think this is her. Right, let me get Jem back and go. Oh, that's a great shot, isn't it? Let's see. I'll just quickly check the audio on that. I won't run it through. Gary.
A sea of salt tires with the harbour in the background.
It's still playing music through it, so I can't do anything about it. So it's just us chatting at the moment, mate.
I would even, Kev, why don't you try putting his audio at like maybe 20-25%, and that should be all right in the copyright front.
Well,
like if we are talking over it.
Okay, I can give that a go. Let me just add Jem's stream. So folks, this might give you a kind of idea of what happens in the background. Normally you wouldn't see any of us chatting, and we're frantically trying to get stuff going. Okay, let's see if Jem's live. Jem is live, right? So she is live. So I'll get the double shot view here. I think Mike's probably finished his stream for today. I reckon.
Stephen was asking someone an OP him to take off the live audio. We could, but no. Like the reason the music's there is to add to the event. As I said, it's very. I mean, I'm thinking back. Was it Air I was streaming at?
Yeah.
And I was covering the Store Alba Pipe Band. Very end of it, just kind of before the rally stage. But the band was doing their circle round, playing their final songs. And actually, I got a copyright on the stream to say you're playing copyrighted music, and it was a live pipe band. It was like, I'm asking the pipe members, have you recorded something? Have you got a license? And it's strange. It's just one of these annoying things that we have to deal with on the social media front. But I said there is tools that we have at our disposal that can make it a bit easier in the future. The problem is that involves a lot of money, because you're talking about having to get a broadcasting license. Another thing is we're not at this moment in time regulated by Ofcom, so we're also quite convenient that way, that we don't have. So it's a give and take situation. As I said, the more professional we become, the more regulations we've got, the more we need to be mindful of our P's, Q's and I's, because I don't think I've dropped a swear word on this stream that I've been talking with you, Kev, but I've done it a few times on the roads. Get a flashback to Glasgow, the very start of COVID, and there was an articulated lorry driving through the city centre that ran through a red light, went straight through it, didn't slow down. And I think I said the C word at that point, because it caught me completely off guard. So yeah, apologies if you do ever hear a bad word on Independence Lively. we don't mean it.
We really don't.
We're quite passionate souls at times.
I'm going to have to turn your audio up a bit, I think, Ian. You're saying a bit low. Looking at my screen.
Someone tried to call me on this phone earlier on, even though I've got Do Not Disturb on, and ever since then the audio's been lower. But I've been able to hear you, but yeah.
That's okay, I've just knocked you up a few bits, you're fine. Okay, so that's a great view, isn't it, Ian? That's a cracking view.
Yeah.
That's a really beautiful view, that. All the marchers coming into the
I think you'll
rally
probably
area.
find that big hill will have one of those big saltires on it in the next couple of minutes as it peels round. It's nice to see people up there waving their flags all the way through it.
Yeah. Let's have a listen to Jem, see if she might be chatting away, so we can listen to her audio while keeping it on this picture. Let's see, let's get down to Jem. Oh, Jem's audio is on. Oh, wait a minute, that's because I had to reload their Facebook
She
page.
should still be in the crowd, eh?
And what I didn't do was switch her audio on. There
When
you go.
we
So
get our
that's Jem.
independence, it's about the fact that we're gonna be free people. We're gonna get our freedom, you know. And my great grandparents, well, great grandparents or whatever, came out here to, well, not here, but to South Africa during the clearances. And my Irish family came to South Africa in the Irish potato famine. And I think we all need our country back. We all need our country back. How many people were sent away from Scotland in the clearances that are now in Australia, South Africa, Canada, America? They all need to come back, and we need to take our country back.
Really interesting comment
And
from
yeah,
Jem.
I'm actually bawling because I'm so happy. Like that
Very
these
emotional.
people here made the efforts, and to all the people who couldn't make the effort, it's okay. If you're watching, it's really great. And for the next Indie March, people, get out there and come and join us, you know. We need our country back. Really. We need our country back. Go learn about your history. Don't just from what you learn at school. Go learn what happened to your ancestors. How many people got used as cannon fodder? How many people got sent away in the clearances? Get our country back.
And could I just add to
I'm
what
so
Jen's
proud
saying
of
there? I
every
mean, the
single
Highland
person who's
clearances
here
by
today.
Sutherland
And who's
back
ever
in the
been
day
to an
was one
Independence
thing.
March.
There's also the Lowland
And,
clearances
I-
as well, which doesn't get really talked about. People have been displaced across Scotland to the
Yeah.
rest of the world for many, many, many hundreds of years, unfortunately. You know, after the Jacobite uprising, they tried to ban our culture. That was one of the things that I said I made sure that, you know, I always had a bit of tartan on when I was doing the Long Walk to Freedom in 2020, because tartan was banned at that
Yeah.
time. Our music was banned, our language was banned. So yeah, we've got a lot to undo from this act of
Do
union,
you know
unfortunately.
what does man? And I know some people think we come out and, you know, they go all on their moral high horse and say we're not colonised, but they did. We've got all the kind of signs of being colonised, right? Our culture was they tried to wipe out the culture, the Gaelic, you know. So it kind of does my nut in when I hear that, you know.
And you know, the unfortunate thing is, Kev, these things still happen to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, even out with Scotland, you look at one of the major issues in the Ukraine conflict was the fact that the Ukrainian government basically banned the education of Russian getting taught in the schools. Now, with a country where 50% of the population speak Russian, you get these issues everywhere. As I said, it's not exclusive to Scotland that it happens. And, you know, as Jen was alluding to there, she's from South Africa,
Yeah.
which obviously has had its massive issues over this century as well. But I think this is an important thing that we need to all, as individuals, do is to call this kind of stuff out. If we don't think it's right,
Yeah.
speak up. That's why we've got freedom of speech. That's why we do these kind of streams. Just reading some of the comments here. George Pennon's watching Jen's stream from the other end of the town. So we'll get out there. Go off and join them. Unless you've got the COVID and stay at home.
I'm going to listen in the feed from the main camera to see if it's any music. Tricky one. It's I'm not sure. I think this will. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't switch to the audio at the moment. Let's listen in Jem.
So someone just in the YouTube comment saying, yes, the clearances in the
Thanks for
Southern
being here,
Uplands are
guys.
before those in the Highlands. Is that Ashbury Stumble? So I'm reading the comments there on my telly, which is quite far away, and I'm getting blind in my old age. So I
It's true.
apologise if I
Beautiful
mispronounce anyone's names.
Wow.
Yeah, these bikes are beautiful, James.
Can I
Right?
ask you guys something? What bike have you got here?
Wow.
Is it what bike have you got?
That's a cracking bike.
Oh God, because I used to have an Indian, me and my ex-husband, in South Africa, but it was a really old one. And I was looking at it, but my eyes are really bad. So, good on you. Great bikes.
She's right there.
Oh, this little dog, I don't know who he belongs to. Hello, guys. Can I ask you guys something? I'm with Independence Live. Are you willing to chat to me, or are you shy? You don't know if you're shy or not? Okay, so can I film you and just ask you a couple of questions? No, but you look cool. Come on, you didn't dress up like that for nothing. Come on. So, can you tell me where you're from? No, but whereabouts? Aberdeen. So, what do you think about today? And how do you feel about independence? It's going to happen, right?
All right, here we go. We're going to listen in on the audio from Gary. There you go, some background music. Yeah, and
Yes, that sounds good. I said the bagpipes don't often trigger the copyright box. It's only when they actually perform pitch perfect and get every note on cue that occasionally will flag up.
yeah, I'll keep it kind of down low. I mean, that could flag it, Ian. We just don't know.
I have to call Hasbury Johnny. Cheers, Johnny. Always,
You all right, Johnny?
Always easier. This is the problem as well, especially online. Everyone's got like 3 or 4 or 5 different names, you know.
Yeah.
It's always difficult to remember who you were last speaking to.
Right, now go and listen to.
Well, listen, here's a wee question that's came in on the main stream here for you, Kev. Do you think the cost of living crisis is going to drive people to ask the First Minister to bring that referendum forward? Or elderly can he afford to wait much longer?
Well, you know, the MPs, MSPs, all those local surgeries, they must know what's going on the ground. They must know, surely to God, right? You know, but that's assuming like people who are in absolute poverty decide to go and actually talk to them. You know, not always the case. So it's dire. The situation is dire at the moment. You know, the energy. It was already bad enough. My God, it's got worse. We had record food banks. We had record food banks in 2014. You know, we try to cover a lot of. We done a lot of interviews with people for food banks, right? As users as well as people who ran them, and it's worse. But we're mainstream. You don't know about it. We don't have our own media. The BBC Scotland definitely isn't our media. It's Westminster's. So, you know, most people don't know what's going on. But you know,
Thanks for coming.
okay.
Welcome to Arbroath, to our right to decide, all under one banner demonstration. We'll just give you a few minutes to get people in. There's still people coming in, and then we'll get started on the rally. Okay? Great to see everybody. Just give us a few minutes and then we'll get started. There's still people coming in. All right, so
Yeah, I mean, I think from you hit the nail on the head with the cost of energy crisis, Kev, because I mean, I'm in a position at the moment where I can look out my front door and see the UK's largest onshore wind farm. And I'm trying to think to myself, because that's been growing in years for the last 15 years that I've lived here. How much has the price of wind gone up?
Yeah.
You know, and even at that, the daily standing rate charges, I think for somewhere in like down London and the southeast of England, the daily rate charge is like 28, 29 pence.
Yeah.
Whereas up in Scotland it's closer to 47, 48 pence. So we're charged even more because they classify Scotland being further away from the main grid. So even the energy that we produce, it costs more for us to put that on the network. It's all rigged. The whole thing is rigged. You know, even when we talk about GERS, the figures that are published by the Scottish Government, they come from Westminster. They come from the Home Office.
I never understand
we
why.
really need
Just
to
come in, front of the stage here, we'll get the rally started in a few minutes.
That's just the rally point.
Yeah, okay.
Put it up, make it look busier. But I'm looking at the multi-feed as well now. Yeah, as I said, easily 1,500 there today. 1,500 I'd put it at. But I said hopefully the announcer will give us an actual number.
The pipe band are going to wait to play a couple of tunes for us. Well, people come in so you can enjoy the sounds of the pipe band. Thank you.
I don't know if we've anybody else on live at the moment. Just the main camera been done by Gary and Stuart, and it looks like Jen.
No, no one likes it.
I'll just drop that audio a wee bit.
Oh, turn that up.
You want it up?
I'm tempted to sing along.
Okay, here we go. Turn it up and they'll pull us off the screen.
Just to say, anybody wants to sign the declaration for a sovereign Scotland, Rick Ferret's over beside these two cars there, so if you want to go over and sign his declaration, that's something you could be doing.
Healthcare, 1 pound for people coming for panels, some out.
Hello folks, if you're interested in yes scones, you can go over to the stalls and you'll get a free yes scone to take away with you. Okay?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm just reading through some of the one of the feeds here, so listen, a few names to say: John Blair Senior, Gillian Cook, Carol Kidd, Pablo Macron, Fiona Ross, Louise Johnson, Charlie McCain,
Most people have arrived
we've
now, so we're just
got
going to get
Helga
the rally started.
McNabb,
Again,
Ronald
welcome
Hawkins,
you all on behalf of all London
Anthony Garvine,
Rally here in Arbroath.
Michelle McCombie, Greg Lamond, Brenda McCoyle, just some of the hundreds that have dropped a like on the stream today, so thank you very much.
Yeah,
Not
like
going to get
and
a chance
share.
to read out every name because it's getting into the hundreds now, but everyone that's part of it, very much appreciate you being here and being part of what we're trying to do, which is tell Scotland stories at Independence Live.
Absolutely, and please do visit our website. It's a cracking website. We've updated it. Oh. Okay. Yeah, please do visit our website. Find out about our new shows. You can catch up with previous episodes. We do political, but we've also got a science show we just started with the broadcaster and science writer Marcus Chowan. We've got a Scottish food show. We've got tons of stuff, so please do check it out.
Yeah, and as well, let us know what kind of content you want to see. You know, we've kind of read through all the posts that go out on Indie Live, so we're looking at how engaging each piece of content is. So yeah, any direct feedback you can provide, you can do it in the comment section. You can send an email to Independence Live. If you want, if you've got an idea for your own show, message us, get in touch with us. We can look to try and get something put together.
Absolutely.
You know, with you know, between the shows that we're kind of have, yeah, we're up to about 13 now, I believe, that go out on the Indie Live network over the course of a month. We also quite often, you know, before COVID, we're doing a lot of the events that were put on by Yes Group across the country. So yeah, we can help out with all those kind of things. I mean, thinking back historically, we had the
Have the band finished?
Veterans for Independence as well that started doing a show for a while. We've had comedy shows from Graham Dallas and others. So yeah, and it's all on there. It's all in the library, so you can access a lot of that content through the website, through the YouTube channel, through the Facebook page. Some content's posted just on YouTube, some content's just posted on Facebook.
We'll listen in on the speeches now, mate, right?
Some of my favourite stuff is some of the interviews that gets done.
On your way here to the rally point, you march past the Great West Gate of the historic Arbroath Abbey and through the arch under the regality chamber, where it's claimed the Declaration of Arbroath was signed in 1320. That declaration, in the form of a letter to the Pope at Avignon from the nobility and the barons of Scotland, included their stated claim of right that Scotland was a sovereign country, independent of the King of England. We all know the world famous quotation: for as long as but of hundreds of us remains alive, we will never on any conditions be brought under English rule. However, those sentiments are not the most important part of that letter. The most important part is included in the preceding words, which are: yet, if he should give up what he has begun, and agree to make us or our kingdom subject to the King of England, or the English, we should exert ourselves at once to drive him out as our enemy, and a subverter of his own rights and ours, and make some other man who was well able to defend us as our king. Those are the earliest written record of what is known as a contractual monarchy. They are a clear statement that if the rulers of Scotland do not put the interests of Scotland first, then the people of Scotland have the right to get rid of them and appoint someone who will. Let's just have a quick look, just for a moment, what's happened in the past 702 years since 1320. In 1707, the nobility and Parliament of Scotland signed away Scotland's independence in the Act of Union, despite the fact that the majority of Scots people who didn't have a vote on the matter were opposed to that move. In 2019, Boris Johnson dragged Scotland out of the EU despite Scotland voting to remain in the EU. These are two good reasons for us now to use that very claim of right established 702 years ago in 1320 in the Declaration of Arbroath to demand Scotland's political independence away from the interference of the Westminster Parliament. We are now demanding that Scotland be allowed to exercise that right to self-determination and to choose independence and all the benefits that independence will bring to Scotland. To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln, we are demanding that the Scottish Government be of the Scottish people, by the Scottish people, for the Scottish people. We are demanding that right, not just for ourselves or even for our children. We are demanding that right for our grandchildren and our grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren. Thank you.
Okay, thanks folks. The next speaker is Mike Russell, SNP President. And just before Mike comes up, I just want to say a couple of words. So, my name is Bob Fotheringham. I'm one of the organisers for All Under One Banner. And I think the declaration of Arbroath is important in terms of its symbolic nature, the symbolism of it. But what really matters for independence, I think, is what happens now. What happens for people in Scotland in the here and now. And if you look around us, and if you think of some of the things that are happening in the world just now, some of the things that are going on in Britain, Partygate has not gone away when you think about it. You know, Boris Johnson, leader of the Lock Them Up Brigade, leader of the, the ones that push law and order, about to get large numbers of his own organisation, his own cabinet and civil servants fined for breaking the law. They partied while ordinary people died. We think about other things that are going on just now, what's happened in P&O, and the sacking of these seafarers, the cost of living increase. All of us, pockets are going to be hit, have been hit, and will be hit much worse because of the cost of living crisis. What's happened in Ukraine has highlighted the issue of nuclear weapons and how Scotland is under threat because we've got nuclear weapons that the people of Scotland don't want. The union is gubbed, the union is finished, and we need to put an end to it. So there is a degree of urgency. So we're saying to Mike, come on Mike, how many mandates do you need? How many do you need? It's time to push the boat out and fight for independence, fight for our right to decide. If that means taking to the streets, that means civil disobedience, whatever it takes to get us independence. So Mike, what are you going to do about it? How many mandates do you need? Thank you.
I'm going to do what I've done for the last 40 years. I'm going to spend every waking hour of my life trying to secure the independence of Scotland. And so are all the people here. So let's unite with that first of all. We all want independence. We're all going to deliver independence. It's great to see so many people here. I think no matter what the official figure is, and there's always a difference between the official figure and the real figure, we've got about 3,000 plus people here, and it's great to see them. And thanks to All Under One Banner for organising this and for everybody who turned out. I don't know what the weather was like here on the 6th of April, 1320, but I think we've got more people here. We've certainly got more bikers here than they had in 1320. Now, the world's changed a lot in 700 years. It's changed a lot in 70 years. It's changed a lot in the last 2 years. Over in the visitor centre that we passed, there's a wonderful tapestry made by a group in Arbroath called the Red Lichty Sewing Group. If any of them are here, thank you for doing it. But the problem is they couldn't display it because the pandemic came along. So what they were waiting for was this commemoration. And we had to put this commemoration off for 2 years. But we're commemorating, we're looking forward and we're looking backwards today. And we're looking at the unexpected effect of the pandemic, and we're looking at something else. We're looking at the historical continuity we have here as a people who stand for Scottish self-determination with those who stood for it here 702 years ago. You know, there are some things that make it important to be human. And one of them is the good that we can do each other, not to divide, but to unite. And we do that good by respecting each other, and we respect the right of self-determination for individuals, and we expect it for nations. And that's what we assert here today, the right of self-determination. Scotland isn't bigger or brighter than anywhere else, but it's just as good as anywhere else. And we cannot and will not be denied the rights that others rely on. We will not be imposed upon, because up there at the Abbey, when they signed that declaration, they signed something that said, government is a matter of consent, not imposition. That's the choice of how we organise ourselves. We have the right to choose our government. And that's a truth that doesn't change. It was true here 700 years ago, and it's true here today. But it's still not being heard in some places. And one of those places is 10 Downing Street. Forget the fine words. Forget the lies. If the Tories believed in self-determination, they would be expressing it here. Just days after the 2019 election, I was at a meeting in London, and I said to Michael Gove, I respect the fact that you've won a mandate for Brexit in the English electorate. It almost stuck in my craw to say it, but I said it. It would stick in my craw now because we know it was illegally gained on Russian money. But I said it. What they have to say now is that we have the right. There is no doubt, no question. We have the right. Rooted in 700 years of history, we have the right to self-determination. You asked about the mandate. The mandate holds. The mandate will be honoured. The referendum will take place. A bill will be introduced into the Scottish Parliament. A bill will be introduced to the Scottish Parliament, and it will pass. Just as soon as the Scottish people say. Not a minute before, yes, and I hear them saying it. We're now through the pandemic. We've heard what the First Minister says. We're on a trajectory to that referendum. Let's stick on that trajectory. Let's be on that trajectory, and let's do that together. If the people of Scotland choose to have that referendum, and they have chosen, then that's fine. And if anybody chooses to stop them, whether that be Boris Johnson or anybody else, they will choose to try and stop. Not the SNP and the Greens in government. Not the Scottish Parliament. They will choose to stand against the Scottish people. They will stand against what the Scottish people said they wanted 702 years ago, to ensure that government flowed from the people, not down but up. And that is what we will have. That challenge will challenge us as a movement. Because when that bill passes the Parliament, we will be on that trajectory. And we have to do something that we did not do in 2014. We have to win that second referendum. That has to be the last referendum, because it's a referendum that chooses our freedom. And we have to make sure that we honour the commitment made here 700 years ago. Because it'll be up to this movement united, to put the choice of independence in front of the Scottish people. Things have changed since 2014. It's not the same world, but we've got to make sure that every person in Scotland, whether they be in Arbroath, whether they be over in my home in Argyll, the length and breadth of Scotland, they've got to understand that this is a choice that people have to make. And we have to, as a movement, work together in mutual respect to let that happen. Let 1,000 flowers flourish. Let 1,000 ideas contend. Why not? Because all our ideas have one thing in common. They cannot happen unless we have independence. No matter what your vision is, no matter what your individual vision is of Scotland, that cannot happen unless we choose independence. There used to be a slogan in this movement of ours, and the slogan was independence, nothing less. It's a good one, but there's a better one. independence, nothing else. Nothing else will do for Scotland. Independence, nothing else. Nothing else will allow us to recover from the pandemic, overcome the damage of Brexit, step into the world again, the equal of all our neighbours, and keen to stand shoulder to shoulder with them in the defence of peace, of prosperity, and yes, the defence of self-determination. That's our common cause. That's our goal. That, as Alex said, was what our forebears thought so precious that they would risk everything for it. That's what this movement united has to deliver. That is what we as a nation must win. Thank you.
Hi everybody, we've not brought the sunshine yet, but it's coming. Anyway, the next speaker is from the Alba Party, and this is Eva Comrie. Big hand for Eva. That's right. Good afternoon, Arbroath, fellow separatists and independentistas. Now, I've not been a politician for the last 40 years. I've just watched for almost 60 years as Scotland's desire for independence has been dashed time after time. But the first time I came to Arbroath was 5 decades ago as a wee lassie who played on the beach down there with a bucket and a spade and my 2 wee brothers. And little did I know the conversation that my mum and my dad were having as they watched us, because they were talking about what was across a couple of 100 miles of that North Sea, Norway. And you know what happened to the people in Norway, don't you? They're sitting with an oil fund worth $1.4 trillion. And what have we got? And what are we going to keep getting? And how's it going to change? But it's not going to happen overnight if we all keep falling out with each other, is it? And what is it that Westminster fears more than anything? It is to see the independence movement of Scotland united as one. And 23 years before the Declaration of Arbroath, Sir William Wallace did what the nobles couldn't do. He united a people and he gave this country back its independence. And that, my friends, is what we have to do today and every day until this country is free. We, the people, take power into our hands. We tell our politicians what we require them to do for us. And we require our diplomats to serve Scotland's interests, our interests. And we take to the streets and we write to the newspapers and we get on the telly and we're on social media and we ram it home every single day that Scotland is a nation, not a desert. And the way to Scotland's independence is this: to do what Margaret MacDonald told us all in Edinburgh in 2011. Each one of us go out from here today and persuade one more to our cause, because it is a noble cause, a just cause. It is about realising the potential of every man, woman and child of this country. It is not about sitting on an oil rig or a wind turbine looking ashore at hungry bairns, at the working poor, at empty cupboards, bare fridges, and folk queuing at food banks who can't take fresh tatties and vegetables home to cook a dinner for they've no electricity and no gas to cook it on. Now, in an energy-rich country? Is that the way our people should be living? Should we have 54% rises in gas and electricity prices when we're exporting energy round the world? So, I close with this. When I was 9 years old and I sat out there on that beach, I only knew about sandcastles and battering my wee brothers with my spade when they jumped on my castles. I didn't know what the nobles had written. It was a few years before I learned it. But I know now that we fight not for glory, nor for honours, nor for riches, but to realise the potential of the people of this country and to make sure that every man, woman and child grows up happy, warmed, loved and fed. Thank you.
Thanks very much to Eva there. That was a rousing speech, if I've ever heard one. Going to get a wee bit of music here now from Eddie Kearney, one of your very own here for Arbroath. And we've got a few wee tunes, and then we've got another couple of speakers, okay? Give it a big hand for Eddie Kearney.
One, two, right. Right, here we go. This first song I want to sing is a historical song. Back at the day of Bannockburn, they had knights on the English side. And everybody thinks these knights were chivalrous guys that went and rescued maidens, but they didn't. They were professional soldiers and they were mercenaries. And the other thing I discovered was they had CVs. And they only put the battles they'd won on CVs. And there was just one guy I discovered down in a church in Devon, and he was called John D. Sully, and he lived to 106, and he was a knight for 80 years. And he must have been really good because he survived. So this is a wee song, right? Okay, now the chorus goes, sharp sticks and pots and pans drove the English from our lands. At Bannockburn he had to flee, so he didn't bother putting it on his CV. Right, okay, and you have to work out the tune. Right, you get the sound up a wee bit. That'll do, I think. Aye, right. Right, now, we start with another wee tune here. I'm not going to do that, actually. I can't hear what I'm doing. Anyway, here we go. Sharp sticks and pots and pans drove the English from our lands. At Bannockburn he had to flee, so we didn't bother putting it on his CV. You up to the tune? He was the toughest o' the tough and the hardest o' the hard. Here was a man that wasn't made o' lard. Right-hand man to his boss, a black prince. On the field of battle he'd turn you into mince. Sharp sticks and pots and pans drove the English from our lands. At Bannockburn he had to flee, so we didn't bother putting it on his CV. Was the strongest o' the strong and the bravest o' the brave. You wouldn't match with this big man, he'd put you in your grave. JDS was hard as nails, but this was high on his list of fails. Sharp sticks and pots and pans drove the English from our lands. A Bannockburn he had to flee, so he didn't bother putting it on his CV. Had your face into the muck with the sole of his great big foot, but the bunch of dafties all got stuck and they had to rely on their luck. Sharp sticks and pots and pans drove the English from our lands. A Bannockburn he had to flee, so he didn't bother putting it on his CV. Although he was a knight for 80 years, he never talked about it with his peers, even when he'd had our money-worn beers, 'cause this was a battle that ended in tears. Sharp sticks and pots and pans drove the English from our lands. A Bannockburn he had to flee, so he didn't bother putting it on his CV. Sharp sticks and pots and pans drove the English from our lands. At Bannockburn he had to flee, so he didn't bother putting it on his CV. Thank you very much. Right, now this next song is actually an educational song, and it's got a very strong health message. Does everybody like Arbroath Smokies? Right, that's good. Okay. Anyway. Here we go. This song's about the Arbroath Smoky. In the suburbs of Greater Arbroath lies a sprawling metropolis just up the coast. There's something happened there that's a wee bit fishy down there in Auchmithy. Someone doped a glow within a barrel and left some fish until tomorrow. Fish left alive will make you feel ropey, and that's the story of the Arbroath Smoky. Awa with your baccy and your smacking your weed, there are things that'll make you deed. Indulge in the fish that's hung or the wit, the only kind of smoking that does she get. Awa with your baccy and your smacking your weed, there are things that'll make you deed. Indulge in the fish that's hung or the wit, the only kind of smoking that does she get. We hauled a haddock out to the sea and dumped your catch onto the quay. The sea was big and the fish was free, and we all had smokies for our. Awa with your baccy and your smacking your weed, there are things that'll make you deed. Indulge in the fish that's hung or the wit, the only kind of smoking that does she get. Okay, I'll see you later. They says I could come back maybe.
Sorry. Got a list of speakers. Okay, folks. Thanks for that, Eddie. Thanks for those of you who are hanging around for the rally. It's great. We're saying the numbers are 3,000 today. I think that was a reasonable guesstimate of the people that turned up at the rally. So 3,000. Okay, the next speaker is your local SNP MP, Dave Dugan. David. Sorry, Dave.
Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to Arbroath and Angus, the garden of Scotland. And the sun isn't quite shining on us today, but that doesn't change how righteous we are in our pursuit of independence and freedom from Scotland, from Westminster rule forever. So I'm the MP for Angus. It's a great privilege and an honour to be so. And I got in 2019. I defeated and removed the Tory MP for Angus. And I can't list all the mistakes that they made in their campaign, but I'll tell you the biggest one. The biggest mistake the Tories make, and they keep making it, is wagging their finger a bit like this and telling us that Angus in Scotland doesn't want another divisive referendum. Can you clear this up for me? Does Scotland want another independence referendum? You're right. Because I'm afraid it's 702 years rather than 700 years since the declaration of Arbroath. But it's amazing that to be here to commemorate 7 centuries of basic common sense, that your country is best run from within the country by the people who live there. That was true 700 years ago, and it's true now. And that belief, that principle should alarm unionists everywhere, because if the nobles of Scotland recognised it 700 years ago, then it's only got more true in the 700 years since. And the clarity and wisdom that those nobles showed, that how can any country prosper under the subjugation of its neighbour? How can any country deliver self-respect or a self-belief in the opportunities that are before it, or the talent of their people when they're ruled mercilessly? I'm down in Westminster every week, and let me assure you, they could not care less what we say. They have almost zero mandate in Westminster here. They've got precious little mandate in the Scottish Parliament, and they have no way to make their broken, bitter union look anything other than a busted flush. And the crucial values of the Scottish people that don't make us especially different from the rest of the world, but we're no any worse than the rest of the world. And don't let's forget our incredible history, the Scottish Enlightenment, the proud Northern European nation that Scotland was before we got dragged against our will into this union 300 years ago, trading across the sea with the rest of Europe, contacts and relationships in every European capital, a voice with the Vatican in Rome. Scotland was a nation before people really knew what nations were. So it's even more criminal that we're stuck in this broken, dysfunctional, corrupt mess of a state called the United Kingdom. So wasn't it just the nobles of Scotland 700 years ago that could see the future better than some that are alive today? Winnie Ewing, 55 years ago, said, when she took Hamilton, and we all know it, "Stop the world. Scotland wants to get on." And that's a fact. We live in a global state-based system. So if you're not a state, you're just not. And how can we allow Scotland to continue in that non-state neverland? And in Scotland, we don't need any lessons, certainly not from the United Kingdom. We know very well how to run our country. We know what devolution has delivered for Scotland over these last 23 years. But devolution is not the answer to Scotland's ambition. Devolution cannot unlock the potential of our people, and devolution will never sufficiently protect us from the maladministration of venal Tories in power at Westminster. And don't let anybody, especially not a Tory, but any unionist, lecture Scotland on our financial viability as an independent country. Let me just set out for you a really simple bit of maths. That in 2008, when the financial crash happened, the United Kingdom had £800 billion worth of sovereign debt. And it had taken a century to build up that level of debt to 2008. Well, we're only 14 years after that, and it's tripled, friends, to £2.2 trillion. And you'd like to say that Scotland has to shoulder its share of the blame for that, but we weren't asked about the spending of a single penny of that. It's inflicted on us by people that have got no care for us or our future, and they'll keep bleeding us dry until we seize our independence from them. A famous Labour career politician once said, devolution will kill independence stone dead. Do you remember that? I don't think that's working out how they thought it would. I don't think if they were watching this march through Arbroath or the marches through the other towns and cities in Scotland, they'll be thinking they've done a satisfactory job of killing independence stone dead. There's been 6 elections, friends, 6 elections to the Scottish Parliament since 1999. And an independence party in the SNP has won every single one of them, bar 2. And that is never going to change because the people of Scotland have seen what's before them and they know what a positive choice at the ballot box looks like. So thanks for coming. Thanks for showing your support for independence. Don't be a stranger to Arbroath or Angus. Come back as often as you like. Have a safe journey home. And don't forget your smokies on the way out. Thank you.
Bit too tall for us, that one. Yeah, just going to introduce the next speaker for you, who's Brenda Dorner of the SNP.
Welcome, friends, to Arbroath, where Scotland's Declaration of Independence was signed in 1320. This is our country, and this is our county, and this is our town. It's time Scotland had its own powers and could make its own decisions on immigration, defence and finance. Future generations need to reap the benefits of an independent nation. As a local councillor, I have witnessed the effects in my ward due to Westminster's uncaring policies, especially poverty. This will only escalate in the current political climate. Scotland has the resources, we have the talent, and we have the vision to tackle these problems. And we can make a difference to people's lives. We can do this, and it's time to do this together. Only the SNP is strong enough to take control of local government. We need you to vote SNP or another independent party in the forthcoming elections. We're ambitious for Angus and we're stronger for Scotland.
Bit too quick for me there. We're just going to have another wee tiny musical interlude from Neil Mackay. Big hand for Neil. And thanks to Eva as well.
2 seconds, Eddie. Hello, everybody. Great to be here. 3,000 a day in Arbroath. What a fantastic turnout. Well done, everybody. Big round of applause. Right, I'm going to play 3 songs, 2 for Jim McLean songs. One you'll probably know, the other one some of you'll know, and then we'll finish with Scots Way. Sound okay? Oh, cruel is the snow that sweeps Glencoe and covers the graves of O'Donnell. And cruel was the foe that raped Glencoe and murdered the house of MacDonald. They came in a blizzard, we offered them heat, a roof for their heads, dry shoes for their feet. We wined them and we dined them, they ate of our meat, and they slept in the house of MacDonald. Oh, cruel is the snow that sweeps Glencoe and covers the graves of O'Donnell. And cruel was the foe that raped Glencoe and murdered the house of MacDonald.
They came from Fort William with murder in mind. The Campbell had orders King William had signed. Put all to the sword, these words underline, and leave none alive called MacDonald. Oh, cruel is the snow that sweeps Glencoe and covers the graves of O'Donnell. And cruel was the foe that raped Glencoe and murdered the house of MacDonald. They came in the night when the men were asleep, this band of Argyles, through snow soft and deep, like murdering foxes among helpless sheep. They slaughtered the house of MacDonald. Oh, cruel is the snow that sweeps Glencoe and covers the graves of O'Donnell. And cruel was the foe that raped Glencoe and murdered the house of MacDonald. Some died in their beds at the hands of the foe. Some fled in the night and were lost in the snow. Some lived to accuse him, were struck the first blow. But gone was the house of MacDonald. Oh, cruel is the snow that sweeps Glencoe and covers the graves of O'Donnell. And cruel was the foe that raped Glencoe and murdered the house of MacDonald. Thank you. The next one's the Shores of Sutherland, about the Highland clearances. So here we go. Cold is the wind and wet as we make our beds down on the sand. Scavenging gulls and clappy-doos down on the shores of Sutherland. High in the hills are Sheelands, are sheltering factors that robber band. Shepherds and sheep are asleep while we die on the shores of Sutherland. Lying beside the sea, awaiting the very first boat to land, begging for crabs and herring down on the shores of Sutherland. Once our corn grew high and as straight as a Highland man. Now we must scavenge the seaweed that lies on the shores of Sutherland. Blood from our cows and meal, and nettle broth made with barley bran, banned from the beds of mussels by dogs and their masters of Sutherland. Big are the shellfish, they're gathering for fishers who come from some other land. Cockles are baiting their hooks while we starve on the shores of Sutherland. Butter and brose and milk, salmon and deer and ptarmigan, honey and bread and cheese was the food of the children of Sutherland. Now we are burnt from our clackers and hunted away from our motherland. Starved at the edge of the sea by the Duke and the Duchess of Sutherland. starved at the edge of the sea by the Duke and the Duchess of Sutherland. Thank you. And last but not least is Scots Wahey. I said 3 and I'm doing 3. Right, here we go. That's Bob. Scots Wahey with Wallace bled, Scots Wambrus has often led, destined to your glory bed, or to victory. But now's the day and now's the year, see the front of battle there, see approach cruel Edward's poor, chains and slavery. Oh, war would be a traitor knave, war safe base as be a slave, war would fill a coward's grave, oh let him turn them free. Oh, war for Scotland's king and law, freedom's sword will strongly draw, oh free man stand, oh free man fall, let him on with me. For our sons in servile chains, oh, we will drain our dearest veins, but they shall be free. And lay the proud usurp low, tyrants fall in every foe, all liberties in every blow, let us do our thing. Lay the proud usurp low, tyrants fall in every foe, on liberties in every blow. Oh, let us do our thing. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. That was wonderful. Thank you. We'll get you back. Anyway, as I said at the beginning, the importance of independence is that what it does in the here and now. I mentioned the situation at P&O and the sackings that took place at P&O. We've also had a group of workers, a group of people who have been on strike for the conditions in their pensions, the university lecturers, run by a national UK system. We've got Carlo Morelli here, who is the former Scottish President, to talk a little bit about that and about how independence matters. Thank you, Carlo.
Thanks, Bob, and thanks everyone for staying this long. My name is Carlo Morelli. I'm the past president of UCU Scotland. I also work at Dundee University, and I want to say a little bit about the P&O workers and the cost of living crisis. Because what I really want to say is that class matters here. It's not just simply about nationalism and independence. It's also about what type of Scotland we want to fight for. We're seeing P&O's workers sacked so that they can be replaced with people paid below minimum wage salaries. We're seeing a cost of living crisis that was referred to earlier. It's going to destroy people's living standards in Britain. We need to fight this now. We need to fight to make a better Scotland. And part of that fight is about independence. And so I want to say a few words a bit about what that independence should look like. Well, first and foremost, we should nationalise the ferries. We've nationalised the railways just yesterday. Why can't we nationalise the ferries and save people's jobs? Why can't we get rid of the increases in electricity and fuel charges? Why can't we nationalise the energy companies? They should not be making profits out of war and out of people's misery. They're lining their pockets with billions of pounds, and we are the people who are expected to pay for that through austerity and cuts in our living standards. And so the people who are doing that are the ruling class in Britain, but also the ruling class in Scotland, and that's why class matters. That's why trade unions matter. And I want to say something about the trade union movement very quickly, because in 2014, in the first referendum, most of them didn't take a side at all. And in fact, most of them didn't even ask their members which way they should vote and which way they should take, what view they should take. That's now changing. The trade union movement is now in favour of the right of people to have a second independence referendum. And my own union, we forced the union to take a view that branches and members should decide which view we take on that referendum. And that's now taking place in other trade unions. So my appeal to you, first and foremost, is to join a trade union. If you're retired, you can join as a retired member and join part of the community groups. If you're in work, you can join a trade union. You can influence these decisions. You can influence this debate within the working class movement. And the trade unions are crucially important institutions in the independence movement because they're going to be part and parcel of the fight against austerity, part and parcel of the defence of people's pay and conditions when it comes to P&O workers or elsewhere. And that brings me to my own union and the university strikes that have been going on since December and will continue to take place. They're taking place because there's an attempt to privatise higher education across the UK, and Scotland is part of that. Although it's devolved, the Scottish universities, managers and employers are following the English model. And that means that they're trying to destroy our pensions, and they're destroying the pay and conditions of people who work in the universities. We have some of the most casualised work, zero-hour contracts, hourly paid contracts in universities than anywhere else in the workforce, in the employment in Britain. It's a scandal what's happening in universities. And if Mike Russell was still here, I could actually talk a bit about a case that he knows about. And that is the difference between him when he was in, Minister for Higher Education, when I was Scottish President. He was having meetings with the employers in universities. And the joke is that he was getting the bus and the train to Edinburgh for these meetings. These university principals were turning up in their chauffeur-driven cars. They were all paid at least twice what he was being paid in these meetings. The lining of the pockets of the rich in the universities by the employers is actually scandalous. And Scotland's no different from that. And I could again give you another example of what's behind the current strike in the pension scheme. The attempt by the employers and the pension scheme, what's called USS, to riddle the valuation of a scheme so that people's pensions will be robbed from them. So much so that even this week, the USS pension scheme admitted that there's no deficit, even though they've got a very corrupt valuation, which we're striking against. Even on their corrupt valuation, they say there's no deficit. Yet, employers are still going to be pumping millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of pounds into this pension scheme in what they call deficit recovery contributions. In Scotland, the universities are going to be putting £79 million into this scheme this year and next year for these deficit recovery contributions, which even the pension scheme says doesn't exist. And yet, why are they doing it? They're doing it because they're trying to break a pension scheme, break the university sector up, ready for privatisation and the big profits that can be made by those at the top. Those people who are paid at least 2 or 3 times as much as the education minister like Mike Russell a few years ago. We live in a society which is class-ridden. We need to fight as a class to fight not just simply for our pay and conditions and retirement, but also for independence. And that means we need a different Scotland. We have to fight for that different Scotland now, and we have to fight for the maintenance of people's pay and conditions wherever they happen to be. We have to stand up against racism. We have to stand up against the employers who want to destroy our livelihoods and our right to a pension. And the trade unions are part of that. And I'll finish up with this. Independence will be fought for. It won't be given to us. We have to stand up now and fight for a different Scotland to make sure people want not an independence which looks like this now, but an independence which is actually better for ordinary working people. And that means jobs, protecting the climate, getting rid of employers who are exploiting workers and so on. Thanks very much. Bye.
Just got a slight announcement to make. Somebody has left a purse over the all under one banner stall, so obviously pick it up whoever you are. And our next speaker is Ian Grant from the Scottish Independence Forum. Big hand for Ian.
That's fine. Can you hear me all right? Thanks very much. What a fabulous march that was today. I think it was really enjoyable. There were 3,000 folk here. 2 years ago there might have been 23,000 folk here, but we'll build it back and we'll get there again. Wearing my sort of Scottish Independence Foundation hat, I'm pleased that we were able to support this event financially. And you sometimes think, what does it cost to put on a march? But it costs PA systems, which are pretty efficient here from what I've heard, and it takes toilets, it takes all manner of things to put on this, and SIF has been very happy to do so, and will be supporting Glasgow, we hope, in a month's time. To the point in hand, Scotland's in a very dangerous place just now. I mean, all the speakers have been talking about that. Here we are, millions probably in this country will be living in fuel poverty, in probably one of the richest, energy richest countries in Europe, probably second only after Norway, and indeed in the world. I mean, this is a scandal. Scotland obviously has been in trouble before. I think when Robert the Bruce came to the throne, things weren't exactly looking good, and we've had trouble at the times post-Union, post-clearances, post-First World War, and in the 1930s. But now, why are we in trouble? Why do we face all these problems now? You know, we've got a parliament, we've had the SNP in government for 15 years, we've got 50% in the polls for independence, we've got 5 mandates for independence and counting, but we just haven't seen the action, the plan, the vision, the leadership that a new Scotland needs. I think Westminster senses at the moment our weakness, or perhaps our lack of direction, and probably in the same way that Edward I detected our weakness after the death of Alexander III 700 years ago. The government here has imposed Brexit. It's wrecked our farming, our seafood, our exports, our hospitality, our health, social care. No wonder we can't get patients out of hospitals into social care, because all the carers have gone back home to Europe. They've also used the opportunity to claw back powers from Scotland, to bypass the Scottish Parliament. And I don't know if you've heard a whimper, but I have hardly heard a whimper from Holyrood to protest about it. And then they help themselves to our oil, our gas, our electricity. In fact, they make us pay for the privilege of selling them electricity, and so on. And so independence has never been so urgent and so necessary. And yet the politicians, until now, have done so little to get us there. To be honest, the movement hasn't done much better. The various factions in the movement have spent their time fighting each other, and we only look, it's been a delightful march and rally today, but when you look at the numbers, we've got an awful lot of getting together and building back again. We need to rebuild the movement. We need to work together. We need to speak to each other without insults, and we need to actually do the whole business ourselves. Pro-indie groups can come together, and in fact I've been in a group called the Independence Forum, which has been meeting, and I think one of the things that has happened out of that is that some of the folk that probably opposed all under one banner marches are sort of signed up to it. They sort of realised they've got it, that actually marches spread the message. In a town like Arbroath, nobody could be in doubt that there were people that supported Scottish independence. So what we need to do, we need to obviously restate the case, and you've heard all the speakers restating the case for independence. Frankly, I think most of us know what the case for independence is. The best people to run a country are the people that live here. And I don't think that's why we lost the first referendum. We lost the first referendum because people were scared out of taking the step, and they were sort of bribed by a halfway house. So I think the case for independence is largely made, but we've got to tell people how we get there. And that's one of the things that the movement hasn't done. You know, we're not going to get a Section 30 order. We're not, almost certainly, the government in London is going to contest a bill passed by the Scottish Parliament in the courts. And we're going to have to find other ways to achieve independence. And I don't know if folk know here about the Scottish Sovereignty Research Group, the SSRG, which is doing vital work in this area. And it's got 6 possible routes to independence. And this summer, they're going to be running a whole series of roadshows. And so I would advise you to look out for these and actually go and attend to them, because we're going to have to be creative to get our independence. And then lastly, as well as the why of independence and the how of independence, we've got to actually build and publicise the vision of a new Scotland to replace the tired old colonial model, which actually has been increasingly imposed on us, especially as the UK has lost its actual empire. We are its proxy empire, our proxy colony, I would say. So we need to paint this picture, and we need to answer the questions to end folks' doubts. But the main thing we need to do is we need to work to end the UK, to end the Union, and we need to start now. Thank you.
Just a big hand. I think people could say a big cheer in the hand for the Scottish Independence Forum for actually helping to finance these demonstrations. I think we've got to remember we're going to be able to do it without them. So thanks, Ian. Thanks to the Independence Forum. Right, I've got a few other speakers. I'm looking for Lisa Keogh. Is she here? Lisa? Here she comes. Bill Boner, is he here? Bill Boner? Nope, doesn't appear to be here. And then if Alison Waters from Now Scotland comes up, please. She's on up. She's up after Lisa. Okay, so next speaker's Lisa Keogh from the Alba Party. Lisa, here she comes.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Keogh. Hello Arbroath. I'm an Alba Party candidate in Arbroath, in Angus area, sorry, for the upcoming elections. If I'm elected, I believe Alba can support me in making a difference for local communities and making a difference where it matters. Education for our kids, women's safe spaces, poverty and infrastructure are all areas where I believe we can do better, and I will fight every day for these issues and more. On top of that, a core belief of the Alba Party is that Scotland should have the right to self-determination and self-government. Throughout the world, there are many countries with similar-sized populations to ours who do just fine by being in control of their own destiny and, more importantly, being in control of their own revenues. In Scotland's case, these revenues are very sizable indeed. Fossil fuels and renewables, fishing and forestry, textiles and tourism, the list goes on. Scotland's potential is huge, but it has to be used properly to benefit our nation's people. And our people deserve to benefit most because we are an innovative and hard-working bunch. In fact, some of the world's most important inventions came from Scottish people. For instance, television, telephone, and where would we be without penicillin? And obviously we can't forget about whiskey, can we? In fact, It is the default position around the world for a country to self-govern. Scotland is one of the very few nations to essentially still be considered a colony. Giving all your wealth to a neighbour, then getting back scraps off their table has become very unfashionable, and it's long past time for this to change. Getting the government you choose would also be nice. We're ruled by the Conservative Party from London, a party Scotland has rejected for decades now, and for good reason. Conservatives in London can never have a clue as to the needs and wants of Scottish people because they're so far out of touch. Therefore, we must all have full powers returned to Edinburgh, where we can then vote in a party who will make Scotland the best it can be, not plunder our resources to fund their illegal wars. Many of you will remember the Wee Blue Book from back in 2014. Wee in name, it may have been, but it had a huge impact on the independence campaign and turned many from a no to yes. Well, now we have the Wee Alba Book. With 100,000 copies already printed and the intention to produce more, this will become an important tool in continuing our journey towards independence. A journey where the destiny, I believe, is certain, but with an arrival date that only the people can help decide. I would encourage everyone to get their hands on one of these books or read and download it from the Alba Party website and use it for a quick reference to convince people and friends, neighbours, to see the potential that our great country has got. No one is better placed to look after Scotland's local and national government than the people of Scotland, the very people with the country's best interests close to their hearts. No one is better placed to look after the vast wealth, resources, innovations and skills in these lands than the people of Scotland. And no one is better placed to nurture and decide our children's futures than the people who these futures matter the most, the people of Scotland. So going back to the core belief of the Alba Party, we need everyone's support at the local coming elections and beyond so that we can reunite the independence movement across the country and make sure this time we take our country back. Thank you.
Sorry. Alison Waters from Now Scotland is going to speak next. Thank you.
Don't clap, please. Hi everyone, I'm Alison. I sit on the committee at Now Scotland. We're a non-partisan campaign organisation. Many of you have heard of us, some of you won't. Come to our stall, it's the green one. Join, please. I didn't really prepare a speech today because I didn't know what to say, but before I came in the car on the way here, I was reading Twitter and I seen a tweet from a man called David. And he was talking about the fact that he lives in the Highlands of Scotland and it was 2 degrees today. So he'd put on his heating and he was waiting for the temperature to go up so as he could turn it off again because he was terrified about the cost of having his heating on. And then I seen another tweet from David about 20 minutes later where he said that it had gotten to 3 degrees, so he had put his heating off. It was warm enough now to put his heating off at 3 degrees. And that's the country that we're living in right now in 2022 in Scotland, where at 3 degrees, an old man can't put his heating on because he's terrified of the cost. And if that doesn't tell you why we need independence, nothing will. And that's exactly what Now Scotland stands for. Independence now, to protect the most vulnerable people in Scotland from things like freezing to death. And the fact that I have to say that, standing here on this stage today, in such a historic town for Scotland, really breaks my heart. But I want you all to go away today and promise me one thing. All of your independence supporting councillors that are standing in this May election, ask them when they're going to get Scotland its independence, when their party plans to do the right thing for Scotland and save people from the heartbreak of freezing to death and starving to death, because that's not the Scotland that we were promised, and it's not the Scotland we need. Thank you.
Okay. Scotty's going to do the declaration of Arbroath in Gaelic, and then we're going to have another wee tune from Eddie. So please give a big hand to Scotty, and after that, Eddie. Cheers.
Hallo mensen Arbroath, faaltje de Obervrohak. Na hele ba wie seo Jude is gevi a corigach, a liedje Obervroch heen, a skrievig sin. Gaat de schreef sin iat als Gaelic, als vierle ietsje. Je document Gael houden een liedje Obervrohak. Agus na gafdra canel me a dollar leeg a maak a huller uit een draaste. Ach jirig een paarste ha kutramach lein. Or ha een liedje jirig go bunnetjach. Jirig zo ik kria na muncher na halappe. Na feen achtnige gachkinje. Agus nu de haie schreven een liedje hij da gra canel sin eersen gloor no bjaarstich no urum a hashin a sabbat cheerson ach eersen surse avan agus surse a kierliche surse freedom sur alapa shin en rut agus hashin an rutte ha misha a sabbat cheerson kutchach agus na ye kaina kavitcher. You don't need to speak English in this country. Ha kananak in your hand. Ha kanan a Gaelic in you. Ha our culture. Our dui. Agus be jirig tug vote. That's a be vote ersen. Partisan be aha a torch take don yo ishik milach. Can you like a jefford mada high na party alapa. No na party Washington and SNP. No na party nu in ye. No na party nella tor tigri nyo shimalach. Tug fair guy. Boat nyo shimalach. Agus bishin sure said in an union a big garage. Ta palai for harichin. Falche agus slanjagut.
Well, thanks very much, Scotty. I wish I could say that in Gaelic, but I can't. Just to let you know that at 4 o'clock, the Now Scotland bus is leaving, just so for anybody that's on it, but you've still got a whole hour. And you've got a whole hour for me to introduce Eddie back on stage, because I got that mixed up before. But Eddie's going to do another couple of wee tunes, and then that'll be it for us, okay? Cheers.
Tak bala good sharav, Scotty. Glewa. Oh shit. This next song I'm going to do is I was commissioned to write a song for the Commonwealth Games in 2014, and I ended up writing 5 altogether. This is one of them. Excuse me just a minute, I can't see nothing. On the braes of Dunhagan, we fought to save our freedom. On the banks of Brothagburn, we penned our destiny. Here is a hymn to folk like Buick, Shanks and Ingalls. They could be you or me, they're Angus folk. Wash out the basin and head out to Highland. Walk in the footsteps of Kerry's in Bard. Feast on a bridie invented in Farfar. Scotland was born in the heart of Angus. Land o' the Jacobite and resting place o' Graham. We've had our own fair share o' intrigue and pain. Land o' the neeps and tatties, barley, oats and smokies. Come forth fae Angus, landmark money, muckle meal. Wash out the basin and head out to Highland. Walk in the footsteps o' Kerry's in Bard. Feast on a bridie invented in Farfar. Scotland was born in the heart of Angus. Scotland was born in the heart of Angus. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right now, this next song, very dear to my heart. When Scotland becomes a fully independent country, I think Scotland, one of the things she has to do is play to Scotland's own special qualities. And one of these qualities is the fact that we actually got on with everybody. So we shouldn't undervalue that. That's not the case with other countries, shall be nameless. Scotland has an unhappy knack of tending not to piss people off, which is quite good. So anyway, this song is a tribute to the Scottish character. If I can remember it. Here we go. As we go towards the future, we must not forget the past. We have come a long way from the mess of time with battles won or lost. Now as we go down the road that leads us to our destiny, we will take whatever life throws at us with the courage of the free. I will wear the flag of bonny Scotland. On my heart I will be forever true. I will wear the tartan of old Alba. On my head I will wear the bonnet blue. I will raise up this altar, I will raise it to the sky. I will always be proud of who I am. I will hold out the hand of friendship everywhere I go, for I'm Scottish and proud of this land. I will wear the flag of bonny Scotland. On my heart I will be forever true. I will wear the tartan of old Alba. On my head I will wear the bonnet blue. I I will raise up the salt and I will raise it to the sky. I will always be proud of who I am. I will hold out the hand of friendship everywhere I go, for I'm Scottish and proud of this land. I will wear the flag of bonny Scotland. On my heart I will be forever true. I will wear the tartan of old Alba. On my head I will wear the bonnet blue. I will raise up Zoltar, I will raise it to the sky. I will always be proud of who I am. I will hold out the hand of friendship everywhere I go, for I'm Scottish and proud of this land. For I'm Scottish and proud of this land. For I'm Scottish and proud of this land. Thank you very much. Safe journey home.
Thanks, Eddie. Oh, I'm not going to play this. Thanks, everyone who's hung around to the end here. Thanks for turning up in the march. The next demonstration's on the 14th of May in Glasgow, so I hope to see you all there. The theme of that demonstration is defending our NHS, our National Health Service. So get along to Glasgow on the 14th of May. Thanks for turning up today. See you. Goodbye. Safe journey home. Thank you.
Okay, we're back. Ian, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you brilliant. That was some fantastic speeches there. We're very much enjoying that, especially the boy that was speaking to us in our traditional tongue of Gaelic as well.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good day, and you know, the numbers were is not huge, but we expected that, but they were good. You know, I was quite impressed.
Well, listen, if they're 3,000. That's the highest number we've had since Glasgow in January 2020.
Yeah.
So that tells us that the appetite is truly there. And yeah, we are still living through this global pandemic. So I think there will be a time where there will be more and more people on the streets. But I'm just going through some of the information that we've got through today, trying to collaborate all the different feeds and chats. So we've had comments through on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter as well, but I've avoided the Twitter altogether. I hate Twitter. So if you're watching on Twitter now, I apologise. Go to Facebook or YouTube, find a better social media. But listen, a massive shout out to all the live streamers on the ground today. We had Angus Productions, Mike Fenwick, Jonah McGregor, Jen Brannigan and Pedro Mendes all contributing from the ground. So massive appreciation for all the efforts they've put in. And yourself as well, Kevin, for doing the restream and all the back office stuff.
I was, thoroughly enjoyed it again, and I'm not sure what the next under one banner march in Rally is. This is, there'll probably be one April. Oh yeah, that might be the Glasgow one. Ian, I'm just
15th of May. I think there's
14th of May.
There's some in April as well. But once again, it's just too much
detail. No, too much. We'll find out. You can always go to the All Under One Banner Facebook page, but I'm sure they'll be tweeting it out as well, etc. And we'll get the next event set up anyway for All Under One Banner. And I don't know if Yes 2 are doing anything as well, and any other groups that are planning marching rallies. We'll obviously do our best to cover them all, you know. But yeah, a good day. It was really interesting what Mike Russell was saying as well. You know, it gave me a bit of hope that we'll see this in the ref, you know. But as you said, we're still in a pandemic, so that's hitting the numbers, etc. But that said, you know, fuel poverty, the ridiculous welfare system we have in this under the UK, is punitive and horrible. Record food banks. So we really need to get out of this union as quick as possible. And, you know, to all my friends in England, hopefully the Scottish independence, that'll shake them up down south, because they really need Ian to get rid of their first past the post, their House of Lords. They need a modern set up, and at the moment it's just allowing the Tories to get in every time, and, you know, 40%, well, 40%, you know, voting figures. So they need to do some radical to change it. So hopefully Scottish independence will help our friends down in England as well, you know.
Certainly, yeah. Because I mean, I'm looking through the audience details as well from this actual stream we're doing right now. Unsurprisingly, most of our viewers are in Scotland, but we do have viewers watching different regions. We've got England, Wales, Brighton, I don't know where that is, I think that's France, Northern Ireland, South Australia, Western Australia, Zurd in Holland, Alberta, Dubai, and a kind of more comprehensive list of countries: United Kingdom, Australia, United States, Canada, France, United Arab Emirates, Spain, Netherlands, Chile, Gibraltar, to name a few. So thank you very much for all that international viewers as well. It's great to see that it's not just, we're getting outside of our own wee bubble, Kev. We are trying to make noises across the world, as Mike Fennick alluded to in his coverage. I think as well, you know, listening to the speakers there, I think it was quite interesting. I can't remember the girl's name that was speaking from the SNP, but talking about these up and coming local council elections. I think we'll do more content on Indie Live as to how the STV system votes, because it is different to the HOT, it is different to the first past the post.
There is
very much for listening.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway is it's numbered, so you can number all or as little as you want. But from the independent side of things, it's important that we back all pro-indie politicians, candidates.
Absolutely.
It's not just the parties standing, there'll be independents in your local area that will stand for Scottish independence. So find out who they all are. Make sure that you've got your list in order of who you want, be it Alba, be it SNP, be it the Greens, be it those independent candidates, be it the ISP, be it, there's loads, far too many to kind of read through and list out, but certainly get involved. We'll be covering a lot of it as it comes up from all the political spectrums. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting month while we go into campaign mode.
Yeah, and we will be covering the local elections results in Glasgow again. So we'll have a team up at the Emirates. We're hoping to get up there, and we'll be, getting the results as they come in. But I would just like to kind of finish off, folks. We've got 10. We produce 10 shows online, and there's something for everybody. We've got the Scottish Food Show. We've got the new Science Show with the well-known science writer and broadcaster Marcus Chowan. We're going to be doing our second episode, which will be in black holes. Yeah, so if you're into science, love food, the Scottish Food Show. We've got so many good shows that we now produce. And the idea being, Ian, is to try and bring more people in, and and ultimately to kind of let them know about Scotland, tell Scotland's story and get it out to a wider audience. So please do check out the shows we do online, and just go to our website, right, and have a look about, and you'll see the shows, and you'll see previous episodes. So don't miss out. Go and have a look. Get involved. And any final words?
If you are in a yes group, if you've got a meeting planned, if you're going to be doing stalls, let us know, because we can obviously try and get someone on the ground. We can try and give it a bit of coverage. This is why we're here. We're here to promote everything that's pro-independence. Yeah. So we are apolitical. We represent all and none. So everyone's voice is important. And as I said, keep an eye out for all the shows that we're doing here. In-house productions at Indie Live. Some of the other ones that go out as well. I mentioned Gordon Ross, and we've also got Broadcast in Scotland, David McGuinness, the Doorstep Referendum, the Scottish Resistance Chapter.
Scott.
Yeah, it's never ending. There's Scottonomics as well. It's been a cracking one. As I said, really good content on there with a lot of insight and a lot of really clever conversations. And watch some of these shows back, because it will give you a lot of the tools. If you are planning on speaking to friends, family, if you're going to be going out knocking on doors over the election campaign, use Indie Live as your best tool, because we have conversations from lots of different sources, lots of different people, and we're just going to expand on that. There's a whole host of roadshows planned as we come out of this COVID era or into the new time of back to face meetings, back to town halls. And yeah, we'll try and get as much coverage of all those kind of events as we can.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye to you folks. Just keep an eye on our website. That'll show you the latest events that are coming up. We do real world events, we do online events mainly for other groups, and we do our own online shows. So go check out the website, and I'm going to say goodbye for me.
And it's a goodbye from me. Cheery bye.
Cheery.